We're live. Oh,
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kind of Funny's Kevin Smith's Askewniverse in Reviewniverse. I am Tim Gettys, joined by the birthday boy, Kevin Big Dog Coelho.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Kevin.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
I got you a present. It's underneath my shirt.
Show him the present. Show him the
Jesus. I was thinking there was a chance that you had written something on your chest.
No, I didn't that much pre-pro.
Oh, man. We got Greg Miller.
Hi, everybody. It's me. It's Greg Miller. Not my birthday, but I'm here.
Like I was saying, we have Andy in Sync Cortez.
What's up?
We also have Nick Scarpino. Nick, how you feeling?
I also haven't showered today, Tim. So it's good to see you.
Yeah, dude. Hey, the hair's getting big.
Dude, mine is... See, yours gets big and it has fullness. Mine gets big and it looks like a comb over. Like a Homer Simpson comb over.
You look good.
It's terrible. I hate it. I want to shave my head.
Tim,
Kevin, let me shave my head for your birthday.
You want to shave
You look
my
pretty,
head?
Nick.
I want to shave my head for your birthday.
No, your wife would get mad at me. I won't okay that.
Pissed. I know. She hates it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our show in review, where every week we review and rank a movie in a franchise. We do 2 a week. Right now, we are done with Transformers. You can watch all the Transformers and reviews on youtube.com/kindoffunny. We are finishing up the Kevin Smith Askewniverse and today and the next couple Tuesdays. And then on Friday, starting this Friday, Lord of the Rings in review. Elise Williams will be joining us for that. Andy, how stoked are you?
I mean, I've already watched it. I'm planning another rewatch pretty soon.
Wow.
Are you really?
The first one is only 4 hours and something long, so they just fly by.
It's like 3 hours and 30 minutes, but when the writing is as exquisite as it is, the acting is phenomenal, the action. When it's the perfect movie, it could be 10 hours. It doesn't matter, Kevin, you know?
It does.
We'll talk about Lord of the Rings on Friday. Today, we are talking about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Thanks to you, the Patreon supporters, Muhammad, Cameron Reagan, Steve Powers, Lee Polero, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, Karen O'Donnell, Drew Gardnier, Al Tribesman. Thank all of you. You can get the show ad-free by going to patreon.com/kindoffunny. You can also get the show for free later on youtube.com/kindoffunny. roosterteeth.com, where you can listen to it. Just search for Kind of Funny Reviews on your favorite podcast service. Jalen Silent Bob Strike Back. Did you guys know?
What'd you say?
Greg, I appreciate that you didn't call me out.
I went to get it and I saw Nick was already on it. Nick was on it.
This film was originally titled View Askew 5. And then everyone was like, Kevin, no. Like, we can't do that. And they probably made a good call there. It was released on August 24th, 2001. Once again, directed by Kevin Smith. The film was a minor commercial success, grossing $33.8 million against a $22 million budget, the most expensive View Askew movie so far.
Wow, $22 million they spent on this, huh?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, Kevin was just like, I have a lot of famous friends. Let's get them in. Yeah. Let's just get them in this movie.
And the runtime is 1 hour and 44 minutes. What'd you guys think, Andy?
Did any of you accidentally watch the extended version, or did you all watch the normal DVD
Is there an
case?
extended version?
Of course there is, ladies and gentlemen. Please. You didn't know this? If you watched a version where they get on the bus and get yelled at because they are hogging up the bathroom, that's the extended version.
No, I
didn't watch
that.
I'll find it. You're all good. You're all good.
I rented on Amazon Prime.
Did it make it a radically different movie?
No, it's nothing like Mallrats. We would have been fine. We would have been fine even if you watched that version. You would have been all right. What did we all think, everybody, is what Tim just asked. This is a weird one for me to always go back and watch because this is the end of like this. So this comes out, as you said. What's the date again? I think we got lost there.
August 24th, 2001.
Oof, man, you want to talk about like the end of my adolescence, right? Of August 2001. I moved to Mizzou. I was super excited for this movie. Of course, this is the one that like it's a complete joke, but my photo is in the background. Like I'm really in. My photo is really in it, but you would never know unless you could go back and see the actual original footage of it or the actual photo of it. But I can't even find that right now. I was Googling around for it before this, and of course, it's all lost to the archives.
Give some context to that.
Sure.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Oh, sorry. I thought this was a well-known Greg story. So, as you all know, and this is probably shown you throughout this in review of the Askewniverse, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, and so you're talking about me being that a kid, growing up, watching all these movies, obsessing about all these movies, watching them over and over and over again. Right. I was also a big frequenter of viewaskew.com and the message boards there, and this is back when message boards were the big way to communicate with people. And Kevin and Scott and all of them were actually really active on the message boards. And so in the run up to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Kevin put up a post that was like, hey, we're doing this movie for Jay and Silent Bob. I don't know if it had a title yet. We're doing this movie and it's a road trip movie. Like it's a trip across the country for them. So we need like wanted posters and missing kid posters and all this shit. So if you submit your photos, we're holding a contest to see if your photo would be like on a wanted poster or a missing kids poster. And so I sent in one of my alt senior year photos, which was me doing the Rob Van Dam, like whole fucking show thing in a suit and Superman tie. And it is one of the ones that got picked. And so like eventually on the message board, they put them up and they did a whole thing of like, let's everybody identify yourself so we could do it. And they had like 2 big cork boards that had all the photos laid out on them for, it was both missing people. And then like, I think it might've been sex offenders. I was on the missing posters. And it was like, when the movie comes out, watch for it. And I went into this fucking theater like, I cannot wait to see myself in this fucking movie. And I remember like constantly peeling back and forth. And it's when after Will Ferrell's introduced as Marshall Will and Holly, they get the tape delivered from the clit. They go to watch the clit, and when they cut back to Will Ferrell and the police thing, the corkboard is behind him all the way up, and all you can see is like the cut, like the bottom of my chest down. So you just see like my tie, the white, and the fucking thing. And it's like
that's the money maker.
It was like one of those things when I went to Mizzou during Icebreakers, I would tell people I won this contest and I was going to be in this movie. And then when they would ask about it later, it was just this like fucking running gag of like, it's there. And if you do not know what that specific senior photo looks like, you would be like,
you got Mike Wazowski'd.
Yeah. Totally. But it was, you know, still a huge fucking moment for me just to be acknowledged on the message boards right of it. Anyways, though, back to this thing. It is, and I think, Tim, I'm sure you'll get into this in a second. Remember that Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is designed to be the end of the Askewniverse. This is designed to be the end of Jay and Silent Bob. The argument here was, do you have all this information? Do you want to read about it?
I mean, if you have, I have a lot of that, but there's not much more than what you're saying. I mean, like then the movie ends with God closing the book.
Well, sure. But no, the idea behind the scenes, right, was that, and Kevin, I'm going to need maybe a little bit of fact checking on this because it's been a while. But the idea here, right, was that Kevin was like, I'm not going to keep doing this. You're going to kill yourself, Muse. Like you're a drug addict and all this shit's going on. And I can't keep writing these things for you and supporting you if you're going to keep fucking your life up this way. And so he's like, I'm going to.
Well, with that, I guess, on his podcast, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, Kevin Smith explained at length about how much of a headache the film was to make, mostly owing to Jason Mewes' drug and alcohol abuse, turning him into a ticking time bomb, which threatened to shut the project down at any moment. During pre-production, Mewes would have constant mood swings due to heroin withdrawal, to the point that Smith actually threw him out of his car on the way to the set one day. Mewes would compensate for his lack of drugs by drinking heavily after every day of shooting and nearly got into a fist fight with Scott when he had to come back one night for a reshoot while drunk. When the shoot was wrapped, Smith told Mewes point blank to get sober or he would never speak to him again.
Yeah. And so that was the idea of this being the end shot of this, is that, he knew that Jay and Silent Bob were basically funding and funneling all this stuff, that he was stopping this until Mewes could get clean because he thought it would work for him. And, there's a whole, like, I've read a bunch of Kevin Smith books and stuff, like Silent Bob Speaks and all this stuff that go through like the, horrible stuff of him trying to help Mewes through all this shit and his ex-girlfriend and what that codependent relationship was like. And there's a whole bunch more than I would ever want to try to even right now off the hip, try to recap in review. But to get back to what I'm trying to drive at, you figure I've grown up, I would say, because your high school years are so formative, right? Like junior high into high school, idolizing Kevin Smith, watching these movies over and over again, buying all the merch, doing all the things I could do, being on the message boards, and then to have Jay and Silent Bob be the end of it. Like you're told that's going to be the end of it, and this is where it's all going to crescendo and go, let alone to have it be the end of it literally as I'm ending my time living at home, being 18 and moving to Mizzou to start your adult life, as air quotes, and then to have literally September 11th roll around and change the fucking entire world. Like, you know what I mean? There's so much tied up in this movie. And it's so interesting to me that all that said, it's still, especially in the list where I'm going to vote it last, because for me, it's the one with the least heart. I feel like it's the one where Kevin Smith every one of these movies, obviously, we talk about is Kev, letting his character speak for him and do all these different things, right? And I think it's Kev missing the point on why we love his movies in a lot of ways. And because I remember leading up to it, there was this whole discussion of could Jay and Silent Bob actually carry their own movie? They were always like the side characters, right? They were always the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Like, what would it be like to put them into this and make them be the thing? And somewhere along the lines, I think Kev started treating them and thinking of them more as cartoon characters because the little bits they had done. And he talked about how Kevin Smith, is just good at writing dick and fart jokes and all these things like that. And to get here and have this movie be dick and fart jokes and have it be, when Ben Affleck's like, Jay and Silent Bob, who would want to watch that movie? And like, I see this guy wants more. He's talking to Kevin Smith, but he's talking to Silent Bob, right? Of like, why? Or no, he's actually talking himself about Bluntman and Chronic, where he's like, why would I want to keep writing the same characters over and over again? They're just, just pot, drugs, and yada 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 yada. I think it's this interesting middle ground where Kevin Smith wants to do more serious subject matter or more serious films, but also in the same breath is backhanding his own creations and dumbing them down to a way I don't think they really were before. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's why
the
movie
it's
doesn't.
Interesting you say all that because like I feel like for me coming into this, like this is my number one, and I feel like it's because like this is the first time I'm seeing in the last couple of weeks a movie of his that I'm like, oh, this hits on every level that they were intending, and it's like I'm not saying it's great, but it's like I feel that his level of jokes is fart jokes and dick jokes, and he does those well enough and consistently.
I'm more with Greg on this one because I feel like this was the first movie he'd written in since we've started that has nothing to say, like literally nothing to say. And like this movie is what's that?
I feel like you say that every week.
No, I mean, Dogma was a crazy commentary on Catholicism. Clerks was about being lost, and Chasing Amy was about like, I mean, that was pretty, relationships growing up and dealing with people who are different than you. This movie, we come in and it's just one long dick joke. And it's, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's, I think it's super. It's silly and it's very cartoonish. And it's not,
to be clear, I don't hate this movie. I'm not saying that.
Not to say that it necessarily has to be about something, but I think Kevin Smith is better when he is nuanced and is writing something that's close to his heart. And I think this one was done just to have fun. And I think there are moments of it that are fun. And I think there are moments of it that it gets really tired. And I think a lot of the humor, unfortunately for me, the thing that draws me out of this is that it becomes the same, like, it starts with some humor that's different. And then toward the latter half of probably the last like 50 minutes of this movie, it's just one long gay joke. And for me, that started to wear on me where I was like, it's so weird to me that they default to this base humor every single time with these two characters, especially coming from the person that wrote Chasing Amy. Like that has always been something that I don't ever think I ever could put my finger on until I watched it this time, until we analyzed Chasing Amy, that I'm like, it's so odd that these two characters were always sort of the counterbalance to the other characters who were going through the moral dilemmas. And they were always the ones that are like, oh, we're going to be the crazy kind of wild side of the author. But when you're just seeing those people and there's nothing to balance them out, it starts to get to a point where I'm like, there is a lot of dick sucking jokes in this. And some of them for me hit, and some of them I was just like, I really wish they'd move away from this humor. And I was telling you guys before we started, like, I don't know what it was about the early 2000s where this level of humor was totally like the thing. But I was watching another movie called The Way of the Gun, and it starts off with just a tremendous amount of like homophobic jokes. And I'm just like, I can't. That's too much for me. I think we've grown beyond this as a civilization. So it's hard to go back and watch those jokes and not feel some level of like cringeworthiness especially when they get to like there's like one character in this whole movie that says maybe we shouldn't be making these jokes, and it's like Jason Biggs, who is the pie fucker, and he's like, why are you so homophobic to Vanderbeek? And it's like, I if that were the point of the movie, I think that would have been cool, but it's not. It just kind of falls by the wayside, and then everything's a dick joke.
We saw that in Chasing Amy. Like we've already been over this thread before. But
in Chasing Amy, that was the point of it. And in this, you're exactly. Just like, oh, we're back. We're just back to this.
Yeah, they sort of defaulted back to it. I was I understand Tim feeling on this because they seeing everything come together. It's sort of like when you watch the Avengers, right? It's that whole thing where we're getting all these different elements from all the past movies, and it sort of makes you enjoy those elements of it more. But by the end of it, like, I think there were some good gags. I think, for the most part, the humor did get tired, and I got really, really just worn out with not only the dick sucking jokes, but also the the not so subtle nods. Like it
Where they
was
go,
funny.
"Well, just look at the camera."
It was funny the first 5 times, and then they kept on fucking doing it. And I was like, okay, we get it. Like Chasing Amy, that would never be a good movie. Like again, dude, really, we're really doing this. But it just felt like I was watching Dude, Where's My Car? Like it was a
Hey.
there was a
I will not stand for a harsh criticism of Dude, Where's My Car in this house. You understand me, Andy?
yeah, but like after watching
Attic.
the past 2 or 3 movies, that again the messages, the nice messages were there with writing that actually felt like
More heart.
caring and more there was more heart into it. This one just felt like a money grab, even, and it knew it was a money grab.
See, here's the thing: is I think the context of where we were in Kevin Smith's life is what's so important about it. Is that I don't look at it as a money grab as much as if it was us being told, "Hey guys, we're doing one final Kind of Funny live or one final," it would be like, fuck, we had all these ideas for everything else we wanted to do. Let's put them all in this. We have so many friends and so many cameos and so many things. Let's get everybody back to play every one of their characters, to then also introduce Will Ferrell and have Chris Rock be this new thing and have Jamie Kennedy there for like, it's like literally Kevin Smith's like, this is the final time I get to do this thing I love. Let's try to
go big.
Yeah.
I totally get that. And I wish that's what the movie was about. And I don't want to, there's no future spoilers here, but when and if we see these characters again, he managed to find a heart in that story. He had something to say. It was about, how lives have progressed. And I wish that this had been about like, there had been more conflict between, I mean, granted, I'm asking for these 2 knucklehead cartoon, like one-dimensional characters to have context and like depth, but I wish it had been about that, where those 2 are going to separate after this.
It's just, I feel like this one did have something to say. And like, I actually thought it was pretty crazy that in 2001, they're having the same issues we're having now of just like internet commenters and all that, of like people trying to control art and trying to, change how people are making things to be how they want it as consumers watching it. And I think that like overall, that was as deep of a premise as pretty much anything we've seen, with the exception of probably Dogma, with all the Catholic stuff. But like looking at all the other movies, it's like, sure, Chasing Amy was about that. The way they went about it, personally, I just feel like they didn't nail it. And it's like that to me is the Dude, Where's My Car thing is perfect. I think this succeeded at being a Dude, Where's My Car movie in a way that the other movies were trying to be deeper and did not succeed.
I just feel like you guys are using Dude, Where's My Car as a pejorative, and I don't like this. I don't like it.
It is what it is. It's an early comedy.
As a quick aside, oh, sorry.
This just reminds me of like what Holden didn't want to do. Like Holden didn't want to keep doing these things. Holden was like, I don't want to do dick and fart jokes anymore. Right. And this was the product of that. Like it felt like Holden actually went through with it and made the movie. Or yeah,
it's kind of a step backward for Kevin Smith. And but to your point, Tim, that is true. Like I think a lot of that commentary did come through, and it's actually interesting to see, especially through these dipshits who don't understand the global ramifications of the internet. And so I think the best part of the movie is the end, where it's all, I forget the song that plays it, but it's like, oh, you
how many people want to kick some ass,
right? And they just actually get to go and beat the shit. And they have that big, thick, like DOS printout on the, the old school like 80s printout of all the people, and they get to go kick the shit out of them. But I agree. I agree with that. That's a fun theme that they play around with.
I think that's the fun thing, but like that's what makes the movie not have substance. That at the end they go and
they don't learn anything.
They don't learn. Yeah, they don't learn anything, and they go and do like. They go and just attack these people, and it's like that's where it pushes the world. Well, I mean, like the whole movie's fantasy, but like it pushes it from trying to tell not a grounded story, but like to having a message to like just totally being like, all right, I guess if you get money, you can go and fight all the people that are talking shit about you, even though the message should have been, it doesn't matter, that's not you. That they're making.
Yeah, the fun thing about that is a fact here. The name of one of Jay and Silent Bob's online critics, Magnolia Fan, was inspired by a feud on the View Askew website's message board. After Kevin Smith posted a strongly negative review of Magnolia in 1999, fans of Paul Thomas Anderson swarmed the board and criticized Smith. So he's like, fucking, I'm making it a character.
The movie was terrible.
All I see it, Nick. All I see it. No, that's the thing is, I do think the movie succeeds as being a Dude, where's my car? I'm sorry, Nick. A dude's where was my car. Here's a bunch of stoners doing some stupid shit, right? But I just don't think it succeeds as a Kevin Smith or View Askew film that way. Because I think also that like back to where we were like talking in, not applauding by any means, but every time it's come up before where it's like, Holden and Alyssa at the bar and talking about Julie Dwyer and talking about Caitlin Bree and like those nods to the universe being interconnected. You're like, yeah. And then like I remember when they, Kevin talked about this being a movie that was going to unite all the people in the unit. It was like, oh my God, yeah. But then to get here, like it just, the movie feels like in terms of like a plot recap here, I feel like it's going to be one of the easier ones because it's literally like, here's a scene that's inserted here, and here's a scene that's inserted here, and here's a scene that's inserted here. And it's like, outside of like, yes, they're going from point A to point B because they're being motivated by the movie. It doesn't feel natural. Like it doesn't feel like these are the natural foregone conclusions as they get into the fucking George Carlin, and then it's Carrie Fisher, and then it's like, all right, cool, okay.
Yeah, and that was something that's interesting because you watch those amazing cameos that they have with these people, and it almost doesn't work. Like it kind of sticks out where you're like, oh, it's cool they got Mark Hamill, but how is that relevant to? I mean, I guess it's relevant to the Askewniverse because the DNA of it has a lot to do with loving Star Wars and loving these characters.
And I think too. I'm sorry, I'm jumping off the Mark Hamill thing too. I think this is correct, but I could be again speaking on my ass. Remember, I think that they do the whole thing, hey kids, it's Mark Hamill applause thing because in screeners people didn't understand it was Mark Hamill.
That's true.
Yeah, it's like talking. Yes, the whole movie's fantasy and all this stuff. It's just like, what am I watching? Like, I get it's Kevin Smith saying goodbye, and it's probably why like, Jay and Silent Bob's Groovy Movie 2, whatever the fuck that cartoon is, makes more sense and works that way. And like Clerks animated series is brilliant, obviously all these different things, but like trying to bring that here and shove it all together, just I don't think it works.
I saw this movie in theaters, and like I don't know. I would like to go back and just watch myself watch it.
Yeah.
Just because again, this was the movie that I saw with my friends and their older brothers, the ones that were really into Clerks and stuff. And I was like, sure, I'll go watch this movie with you guys. Like, I can't imagine how clueless I was throughout this because I don't know shit about what's happening.
Did you like it back then, or were you just confused?
No, I thought it was awful.
Oh,
I was like,
really?
This movie sucks. Yeah.
A fun one for you. You're talking about like wishing you could go back and watch yourself watch this movie. What I'd like to picture you to go back and watch is that, again, my photo's in this somewhere, right? My mom and dad went and watched this in theaters without me in Chicago, in the suburbs, with what it must have been one of their final dates before they officially like split up. But it was like, oh, Gregory's in this movie, let's go see it. Probably is. And like the only feedback I ever got back, because everybody knows big old Jamie Kennedy and number one crane operator Greg Miller. They're not squares or anything, but the only thing my mom ever said about it was like, after when we were driving home, I said, this must be their generation's Cheech and Chong. Because it was like an hour and 40 minutes. And they're like, what the fuck is happening?
That's pretty accurate.
Wait, really quick
before we get into the plot
Tim.
here on the bonus DVD. What's up?
I was just gonna say, like, it's just a little bit more backstory on me in this movie. I think this is the first Kevin Smith movie I watched, and the first time I watched it, I was like, oh my God, 10 out of 10. But I believe what happened is I watched the movie Orange County, and it was like, oh, this is terrible, and somehow watched this movie immediately after, and was like, one of the best movies ever made. Yeah.
Man, I had such high hopes for Orange County, Kev. Like,
it was so misplaced.
I was so excited for like the new Jack Black flick, and it was just not what I wanted.
It was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Hey man, everyone has a dark time. Jack Black had to go through his Saving Silverman and
what? Wait, no, shut up, Nick. You sound really dumb right now.
All right, the Shallow Howls, the Saving Silvermans, like he went through a dark.
Nick, Shallow Howl's great too.
The Nacho. Did you watch Nacho Libre?
No. There you go. That's where it happens.
All right.
I will tell you one time.
What about the one where he did with Michael Cera where they're cavemen and you're like this
that was really bad. Really bad. I will say though that a Tinder date one time came over to my place and brought a Nacho Libre on Blu-ray.
There's one part of the movie
the
where
date ended really shortly, guys.
My wife and I laugh every once in a while because the only line I remember from that movie is like, sometimes people have to wear stretchy pants. And we say that to each other.
I feel like Matt Scarpino loves Nacho Libre. Right?
Matt Scarpino is Nacho Libre.
He lives it.
He fucking lives it.
So some facts before the plot here. Smith explains in the on-camera intros to the deleted scenes that several scenes had to be cut from the theatrical release due to the film initially receiving an NC-17 rating. He also mentions in the audio commentary that it took 3 submissions to be able to get it to R. And he was also saying that he made this film. He set out to make this film to not have controversy after Dogma and all the shit he had to deal with it. And that ended up not working because of all the gay stuff. And it's like, Kevin, what the fuck were you thinking?
Well, it's interesting because, like, again, we talk about this a lot, and it's not excusing the past, and it's not making excuses for it at all. But in the 90s, that level of humor was what society deemed was acceptable. And as society progresses, you start looking back and being like, oh wow, that really is kind of like, that is insensitive. There's ways to make jokes about people that are smarter than that, and these are just base. Like, you can tell I don't really know what these characters are about. They're one dimensional, and Jay is just all about the dick sucking jokes. And it just, back then, even I don't remember having a criticism of it back then, because I think I was still sort of in that mindset of like, hey, this humor is fine. But I do remember walking out of that theater being like, it's not a very good movie. In fact, the only thing I remember about it, having watched in the theaters, is that end song where I was like, oh, that's an interesting song.
Morris Day at a Time?
No, it was the credit song where it's I was gonna clean my room.
After
I got high. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Huh.
What a classic.
Interesting song.
And that's the one thing I haven't been giving proper shout outs and rankings of. We should have done a podcast within a podcast for soundtracks. And this soundtrack fucking slaps. I owned all of them up until here. Through here. I just did 5 for
Greg,
two.
clearly you haven't gone back and watched the Transformers, the animated movie, because you would be singing a different fucking tune, my friend.
No, I don't know why you thought. I don't know why you thought that I would be ranking. I was saying in review ranking of every soundtrack ever. Also, I've owned all in review soundtracks still right now. That's what you think I just said.
Get it. Get that
Transformers Ant-Man and the Wasp soundtrack. It was a great.
The word "fuck" is used 248 times. That's a fun one. And with that, let's start the plot.
Get into it, Greg. Just
you don't want to do anything? You don't have a song? You don't have a song for me or anything? So we start, of course, outside of the quick stop. Way back in the day, Silent Bob is a little baby. He's rolled up in front of RST video. Popped down. It's not RST video yet.
Who's the baby?
Kevin Smith. Is it Harley? It's Harley, right?
No.
Okay, yeah. It's all the fact that Harley is a full-grown adult now. It kind of blows my mind to try to wrap that, because I know. Well, that's future spoilers. I won't talk about that. Yes, so baby Silent Bob's parked outside. His mom goes into the quick stop or whatever. Then baby Jay is parked outside by his mom. The guy leaves, who's what's his name? Coey from Chasing Amy, right? The guy who gave the terrible, out of place, completely weird synopsis of Finger Cuffs' nickname outside of the quick stop. He 70s version of him or whatever walks out. He's like, "You can't leave your fucking baby out here." And she's like, "Fuck you, fuck. She's just fucking a million times to him. And then he keeps on trucking and walks off. And then she goes inside telling him, "You know, fucking parent, blah, blah, blah." And this is when baby Jay stands up and starts the rap. Just his first word is fuck, and then into the fuck, and then fuck, motherfucker.
Hey, Miller, Nick, did people insult people that way? Or like, when he walks up, it's like, "Yeah, keep on trucking." Was that a comment? Okay.
No, I mean, I don't remember that from my youth. No, I cannot comment on that.
What about when you were an adult in 1979?
I'm gonna tell Greg keep on trucking if he starts talking shit again about fucking people with my car.
First off, I didn't start it, and then you were the one who fucking came out swinging on 2 other movies we loved. All right,
Andy, I just want you. Andy, let's play a scene. I just want you to say and no and then. Okay, ready? And then
no and then.
And then
no and then.
Fucking genius, right? He's already laughing.
The only thing I remember from Dude, Where My Car, the only joke I remember from Dude, Where's My Car, is when, and I don't even remember how we got here, but the woman got huge and she's like walking in they're like in an amusement park, and the little kid's like, "Daddy, I want to go on that ride." Dad's like, "Me too, son. Me too." You die in that vagina. Anyways, back to Jane Silent Bob.
What a way to go. What a way to go.
$15. The kids show up. $15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. But, and this is the thing of like what's interesting about Jane Silent Bob Strike Back and being minorly commercial successful is how many people know all these like little references and lines from stuff. Like that this is the one that really proliferated, I guess. But I guess probably because we all grew up on them and we're old enough to go see them theaters. Anyways, they get into, Jay continues to sing. They get into singing some Jungle Love. This, and the kid's like, "What is Jungle Love?" They talk about Prince. This is, I think, the first gay joke. They're like, "What the fuck? Yeah, you're going to talk shit about Morris Day and the Time? They're the greatest band of all time." At this point, Jeff Anderson, Randall himself, walks out of the video store, tells him to stop dealing in front of the store. And for the record, Morris Day and the Time sucks. He goes in and he's got him. The kid, he's like, "You want to know something fucked up about him and that quick stop boy?" We cut back into the quick stop. Dante's behind the counter once again. He's not even supposed to be there today. Once again, Randall saddles up to read his magazine. They start talking about them being outside and how they're this, yada, yada, yada. The kids come in. They're like, "How was the wedding? You got married at a Unitarian church last week." And that, what is it? I'm blanking on the. You're the Butch, right? And then I forget what he called who's dominant. I can't remember what kind of terminology.
Yeah. Okay, that like it's like top bottom
Like
sort
top
of thing.
and bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, but he said something specific that I'm totally blanking on right now. Anyways, and
the beauty or the Betsy, I forgot
The bitch and the butch.
bitch and the butch.
Okay, I'm the bitch. Well, if we are when I've thought about us being gay, that's how I see it too.
I will say though that like not a whole lot of evolution in terms of their acting jobs. Like it sounds like they just took a clip from fucking Clerks. Like they talk. Why does every line they deliver sound the same, man?
But also,
Don't worry, you're about to get a bunch of A-list actors.
To your point earlier, Andy, like this is one of the first references where it's sort of a nod to the other series where he's like, I'm not even supposed to be here today. That I just felt I was like, why? Why do we have to say that? We get it. It's so out. It's so beating people over the head.
Because I mean, if you don't want fan service, man, fuck off. Because this whole movie is fan service to view Askew people. So of course,
and I think they nailed it.
Yeah. I don't mind I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I don't mind it either. It's just like the fourth and fifth and sixth time they keep on doing it. It's like, okay, we get it. We're not dumb. We're not that dumb. I'm done.
I feel like I liked it this time, didn't like the second time, but when they bring it back with the monkeys, I'm like all in.
Of course, people like monkeys. Research shows that. Randall's like, and I'm gonna do something I should have done a long time ago, and calls the Leonardo Police Department, who come to arrest Jay and Silent Bob.
Feels like this is out of character for Randall. Where I'm like, why would he do this? These guys have been around for 20 years.
Randall, we like, of course, but Randall's a bitch. He would do this.
Wild card.
No, but I feel like
I'm gonna be done with this.
We saw him like in one of the other movies just kind of totally be okay with this, like, yeah, they're the stoner guys that sell drugs out there. I just can't imagine how 10 years changed him that much, calling the cops. He doesn't feel like a narc.
He's not a narc.
I mean,
Randall
he
just
is.
wants to get the job done, so he gets it done. The shit cops show up once again. It's the actor who plays Rick Darris. I don't think it is Rick Darris, but I never got to look at the badge. He's there to arrest Jay and Silent Bob. For what? Well, we don't even smoke weed. We have these rolling papers. Yeah, I have a wiping problem, so I use them on my brown eye, and he drops his things there and farts. Literally a fart joke right here or whatever, and then gets grabbed. What? It's a fucking crime to fart for a fucking fart. They're thrown into the cop car. We then cut over to Brody's secret stash, where Brody's putting comics out there. We're getting to see Brody, of course, Jason Lee here in his exact same outfit from Mallrats. So again, just in case you aren't familiar 100% why Jason Lee's two characters, we will dress them in the exact same outfits, like the
Same
cartoon
hairstyle
character
too.
This movie is. Exactly.
Yeah. Give him the
Nothing's
bang.
changed.
Yeah.
And
Mallrats
can you
for him.
imagine watching this movie and then, like, I did once, but watching this movie with no other context, just being like, hey, there's a lot of people here that
Playing
you
the
see
same
later.
I watched this movie 3 years ago, and I had not watched the other ones, and I was confused as fuck when he came back. I was like, I don't understand. But here we are. Now I understand. I feel enlightened. I feel fan serviced.
Jay tells us, of course, that there's a restraining order filed against them now. They can't go be outside of the quick stop. While Brody puts out his comics, he's like, well, that doesn't really matter, right? Because you're all rich as fuck now. And Jay's like, yeah, wait, what? There's a Blunt Man and Chronic movie happening, of course. It's what everybody's talking about. It's the cover of Wizard magazine this month. And I was like, oh, God, that hurts to see a beautiful Wizard magazine inside a comic book shop.
I only ever owned one Wizard magazine, Greg, but I felt like I was in. Like
you fucking were part of the community. You were part of the comics community at that point.
Those magazines were so thick.
They were great. They were so
glorious.
cool.
What a glorious fucking thing.
I didn't know anything that was inside of them, but I just drew shit all the time.
God, they were lovely and amazing. Also worth pointing out, you might be like, I thought Brody hosted the Tonight Show. Behind him is this giant variety thing saying he bolted, that he left the Tonight Show, which I thought was like a cool way of not having to beat us over the head of it, because Brody would have that kind of shit in his comic book shop.
Another fun thing too that like a lot of people might not know, but you want to talk about the comic book shop, Greg?
Oh, sure. Like, it's Brody's secret stash. It's Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash. This is the original secret stash, which has since moved. But it's the Kevin Smith comic book shop, which, of course, after it moves, goes on to become Comic Book Men and all these different things. They just made a different sign for the outside and shop there, which is dope as hell. So yeah. And Brody lays out the plot here, right? Of course, that yes, in fact, there's a Blunt Man and Chronic movie happening. You guys probably are owed likeness rights. They already paid you for the comics, aren't they paying you? We ain't got no fucking movie check. Brody's like, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? You would think that Banky Edwards and Holden McNeil, using full names, of course, even though I guess Brody doesn't know them, which would be weird because he's the comics guy in Jersey. Doesn't matter. Yeah, that they owe you some money and you need to figure that out or whatever. And this is what's going on. And he's like, all right, cool, we'll go look them up. So then again, we hard cut over to Potzers Incorporated. Again, more fan service for you, of course. This insult that Ben Affleck threw around that Alyssa picked up as well in Chasing Amy. Potzers is Ben Affleck's new company. They knock on his door. Holden McNeil opens it. Bang! Quoting the who shit in his cereal, like Chasing Amy. He's got this dope ass space with all sorts of Macs in it.
Really cool.
Thing. Very, very. You want to talk about a .com office as he's playing his basketball and has all these computers, right? And it's basically again laid out there that they're there for their fucking movie check. And he's like, I sold my half of the rights to Blunt Man and Chronic to Binky a long, long time ago. So you're gonna have to chase him down if you want anything done on that. And they were like, well, what is even going on? It's this movie. It's people are bitching about it on the internet. What the fuck is the internet? A great quote, and then a great delivery here, right? Of the internet is a place where people keep anonymously to talk shit. They go to movie poop shoot. Again, another just let's be as on the nose with the dick and fart jokes as we can be. Where people,
I love the logo, the logo, the little film reel
coming out of the asshole.
The noise when they get on the website always bothers me. The fart noise. It's like, oh.
Kevin, well, you don't like when people burp, so I understand that.
Yeah.
Kevin, what do you come down on when guys used to put their hands in their armpits and go and make a fart sound?
No, fart sounds usually I'm totally fine with. This specific one has always bothered me. I don't know
I just
why.
want you to know, mostly just the highness of that, your hand slapping together came through, so it sounded like something completely different.
What does it sound like, Nick? Oh.
Can you please stop? I can mute him. Why do you moan?
Perfect example of a thing that was just like, okay, you're towing the line, and then you just jumped across.
That'll be on today's kind of funnies out of context tweets.
that feels apropos for this movie where everything.
Shout out to Dylan.
Nowhere.
So again, we lay out here that all these people are talking shit about Jane Silent Bob on the internet, and Holden's like, they're not talking shit about you. They're talking shit about fictional characters. It just keeps going over Jay's head. They keep going back and forth with this funny exchange, right? As Holden can, they're talking about fictional characters, like he's trying to, I guess caveman sign language to explain what the hell he's talking about. But it's not going through to Jay and Bob.
I hate this. I like
which part?
I don't.
That
like
they don't get
that.
it.
No, I don't like that Silent Bob. His role was never I'm gonna do charades to make you understand stuff. It became that in this movie, like he became such a cartoon but before it's just always kind of been him going little head nods and kind of like facial. But now he's doing like all these weird. Like, when did this happen? Why now?
When they made a whole movie about him, and he doesn't talk.
I don't know. It's just weird.
I feel like there's something that I don't know what the hell happened to Ben Affleck. Like, did he get hit in the head with a stick or something? Because like his acting went like it was fine. I've always been like, Ben Affleck gets a lot of shit for his acting. I thought he was good in Chasing Amy, and then I really liked him in Dogma, and then in this movie, I have to assume it's the directing, but all of this just is so over the top. And later when they're doing the Good Will Hunting too. I don't get why that was the direction that he went, where he was like,
I think at that point, I think his direction was, yes, this is all cartoony at this point. We are just over the top with this. Matt Damon's still good though.
Remember, also they probably got them like this is the one where he said that Kevin Smith like guilted him and did come back picture, and they even make a joke about it. I have to imagine they were like, we got Ben Affleck for 2 days. Let's just get through these scenes, and whatever he gives us, because he clearly had fun with the character, but I doubt he gave a fuck about this. Remember, Ben Affleck at this point was getting huge.
I feel like it was like, dude, where's my car bad?
I think honestly, like,
I will not.
I think a lot of it is like, and I do think there's truth to it, right? Of the payback picture, as much as I don't think it was like really a payback picture, but I was like, fuck, Kevin wants me to come do this with him. I think it was literally, come on in and play. Let's just have fun. Let's do this thing. And so like, I'm gonna go back to being Holden McNeil, which means I'm gonna come back. I'm just gonna be Ben Affleck again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there isn't like, oh man,
we're farting around, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's. I don't think Ben Affleck. It's very similar, I would say, honestly, to the plot of Chasing Amy, of like, when I have something personal to say, I don't think he had anything personal to say with this. And I think Kevin Smith was just like, come on and have fun with us and fuck around and bong and do. You get to say things. You get to get it up on J-Pop.
It's basically every Happy Madison movie where Sandler and all his friends are like, let's just come hang out and go on vacation.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think
like
that's
just
why
you're
you're
saying
getting
grown-ups, but yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Anyways, though, so Holden sets it all up. This is where we meet the commenters, yada 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 yada. And it's yeah. So now we have to go to Hollywood. Come on, Silent Bob, we're going to Hollywood. They exit. Silent Bob waves. They go to the bus station. Easter egg for you to look forward to in future movies. No future spoilers here, but future movies. In the scene where they walk it now and get on the bus and then immediately get off the bus, you will notice a large man in front of the bus drinking 2 cups of coffee at
Greg
the same
Miller.
time. Over and over. I wish. God, can you imagine? I forget what his relationship is, but he's one of the guys who is key to making Clerks the animated series happen. And in future films, no spoilers, he will appear again drinking 2 cups of coffee. If you can find him for me, you will get nothing but my applause. Jay and Silent Bob get on the bus and then immediately get off the bus. And like, since when do you got to pay for the bus? Didn't we used to ride this shit for free all the time as kids?
Good line. Good line.
Excuse me. Now they decide to hitchhike to Hollywood from New Jersey, even though everything looks like California. Now, I got some of that coffee in there. I got it in my air pipe. Wrong pipe. No, the same throat, right throat. Wrong pipe.
So a fun fact here, you mentioning the California, New Jersey stuff, like they did shoot in New Jersey and California. That was essentially it. But they, in keeping with the fan service theme of this movie and like just kind of going all out with stuff, and even if it was obscure things like Mark Hamill and no one knows who the fuck he is unless he's Luke Skywalker, the canyon setting that they end up at the diner is the same location used for the filming of many episodes of Star Trek, the original series. Most notably, the Season 1, Episode 18, Arena, where Kirk fights the Gorn, the giant green lizard, which we've seen. I mean, we can all imagine this canyon they're talking about, right? Like, it's iconic. And it's like a lot of the scripting of this movie and ideas came from like, what dope locations can we get that are iconic from different things and just kind of ride around that. I think it's kind of cool because it fits in with the whole, it's more than just references to Kevin Smith movies. It's also like nerddom as a whole.
True. So now they're out there, and we're gonna hitchhike to Hollywood, everybody, and everybody's like, "All right, cool." And they're just out there starting it, and they don't get any rides, and they're like, "Wait, why aren't we getting any rides?" At this point, George Carlin from across the street goes, "Because you're doing it all wrong." And it's of course Cardinal Glick, but not Cardinal Glick, just George Carlin. And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "If you want to get a ride, you got to suck dick. You got to offer him some incentive." And shows a sign that says, "We'll give head." And back to everything, but we're not gay. And George, this is where I think, again, like it could have, if this would have been the plot point throughout, right, would have been like what you're talking about, Nick, of saying something, right? Mm-hmm. Fuck that, we're not gay. And he's in George Carlin's like, gay, straight, it's a new millennium. It doesn't matter anymore, blah, blah, blah. And if I'll take a load in the mouth if it means I'll take a shot in the mouth if it takes, it'll get me a few hundred miles down the road.
I'll take a shot in the mouth.
Like George Carlin. Yeah. And so, they're like, oh man, it's in the book. What book? The Unwritten Book of the Road or whatever. And they're like, okay, cool. And so then he flags on a truck, gets in there, and very graphically goes down in the sky, where he's like, good luck. Excuse me. Down. I'm like, geez, all right. Enjoy that.
I'm like, you don't want to get on the road first? Like, get up to speed before.
Yeah, I know, exactly. It doesn't seem it's that unwritten when you write it on the sign. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like whatever. It seems like it's a very explicit transaction, but I digress.
Good point.
Station wagon pulls over. They climb on in, and they both sit in the back seat, Jay and Silent Bob. We pull out to reveal that there's a nun driving the car with Buddy Christ on her dashboard, confirming that Dogma did happen and exist. And also the fact that it's Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia herself, driving this here car. You got to love it.
A fun thing here is this is the first film in which Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill had appeared together since Return of the Jedi. And apparently neither of them knew the other was in the film until a couple weeks after shooting.
That seems like a missed opportunity.
Or the perfect opportunity so they don't fucking say, oh, I don't want to be in another movie with Mark Hamill or vice versa. That's the risk you take there. You're not sure. Remember, very different time, 2000 when they're filming this probably, right? Of like where we were with Star Wars and how no one ever thought we'd see Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher in Star Wars again. I digress. She invites Jay up to one of them up. Jay goes to the front of the car, and they immediately are into it. And she's like, "Oh, I live my life by the book." Fuck, you follow the book too? Thinking, of course, the unwritten book of the road. She's yes. And do you follow it? I guess I have to. You picked us up. I guess I kind of have to. And she's like, well, it's much easier to say you follow the book than to actually do it. And he's like, all right, fine. Flicks his hair back and then goes down on this nun in the fucking station wagon. We got an outside shot. She pulls to the curb or the gravel, kicks his ass out, kicks Silent Bob out, pulls away. It's now nighttime. They're out there like, how was I supposed to fucking know he's smoking a cigarette? You know, it feels like, it's like we're in some kind of fucked up cartoon. The camera turns and it's basically the mystery machine from Scooby-Doo underneath a light, looking really cool. We then cut to them in the car with the gang. It is the entire Scooby-Doo gang here. Okay, this makes sense.
Really, really bad Shaggy. Like,
he's got the voice almost there.
He was
put this weird like crinkly tinge on it.
I feel like it's Shaggy impersonators are a dime a dozen out there, and they're so easy to find. But this guy was really, really bad, dude.
Andy, the problem you're having is that when they would eventually go on to make the Scooby-Doo live action movies, Matthew Lillard fucking knocked it out of the park. So you can't really,
you know what I mean?
You can't really
right there. Hire me.
Once you have the Babe Ruth of Shaggy's there. Done.
Well, first off, don't insult Casey Kasem.
Right? What's that?
Don't insult Casey Kasem. The original voice of Shaggy. Sure. Everybody's basing it on.
But everyone knows that Casey Kasem did that in his like own home recording place. Never fucking stepped out. Never saw the world.
I heard he didn't even know Scooby-Doo was a dog. He thought it was some kind of horse.
Do you guys know who voiced Scooby-Doo in this?
I do not.
Mark Hamill.
Shut up.
Really?
That's cool.
Anyways, he's pretty good at this voice acting.
Did they pay him twice for that, or did they just give him like nothing back then?
Probably gave him nothing back then. Because he's like, oh man, live action. I'm not just the Joker voice that nobody knows me for. Great. Anyways, we're back in the mystery machine here, and they're talking about pulling off their masks. They start infighting or whatever. Velma makes a reference to wishing they could pick up sexy girls. Like, it's just like, for all of a sudden, James and Bob. Yeah. Here's a bunch of thoughts Kevin had about Scooby-Doo. And it's like, okay, and again, in these random inserted, we're making a fucking shitty film like Dude, Where's My Car? It works. You want to come off the bench, huh? Ashton, quit your fanboy. Get out of here, you piece of trash.
I'm telling you right now, I'd rather watch Dude, Where's My Car 2 more times than watch this movie ever again.
Okay. Wow. And then the infighting begins, or boils over, I should say, I guess. And Jay's like, you know what you guys need? Doobie snacks, and has a bunch of weed. So then we now cut to magic carpet ride montage of them fucking high as shit. Velma and the other one, the redhead, I don't know. She's who? Daphne? Sorry, I know a lot about Kevin Smith, not about Scooby-Doo. They're fucking in their bras dancing. Everybody's just fucking high as shit. Eventually it ends though, and we cut back, and Jay and Silent Bob are passed out on each other, and we cut back to the Scoob gang, who Shaggy's like, we should cut their kidneys out and sell them on the black market. Then we cut to I don't even know whose dream sequence we're in anymore now, or where we are. Yeah, Jay's got his kidney cut out. He's in a bathtub full of ice.
So
he screams himself awake, and he's sleeping on Silent Bob outside of a playground or whatever, right? And he's like, and he comes to, he's like, do I have my kidney? Yeah, all right, cool. I'm hungry for breakfast. And he goes, and there's a Moobies right across the street from Dogma. You got something, Kev?
Yeah, just one of those things where, like, what the fuck happened? Did Kevin Smith know someone with a mystery van lookalike that and just was like, you know what, we could do this scene? Or what? Has he always wanted to do a dark Scooby-Doo like rip-off movie? Like, what a weird scene.
It probably is, right? It's probably, I mean, he wasn't podcasting yet, but I'm sure like you'd get around and fuck around with your friends and Mosier and all these people and bring it up every so often. You're like, this is my chance to put this in a movie.
It's such a bizarre infatuation. Like, I could understand if, again, they have Jason Biggs in here and James Vanderbeek, which were very much of that time. That stuff makes sense. I understand those actors popping up and being like, that's weird now, but totally back then that makes sense. But Scooby-Doo, like a fucking cartoon that's ancient. Why? Like, it's like, I would understand like a Beavis and Butthead or Ren and Stimpy or some shit like that. But it was really bizarre.
I mean, yeah.
Well, this is it makes sense because Kevin is a child of this time period, right? It just doesn't make sense in the terms of, usually he would throw these out as verbal references, other characters saying in their universe, and it would make sense, right? Because I think, obviously, again, I know this is dating all of us, but the Star Wars references hit and work, right? But again, one of the reasons Clerks was so cool was, man, they're having conversations you'd have with your friends about Empire when Star Wars was not getting talked about that way. There's one that misses, right, for me, where it's in Mallrats, where it's some dating game ripoff show, and Brody's like, man, why can't they ever bring back a good show like BJ and the Bear? Like that's when you can hear the jet airplane race over my head. I have no idea what you're referencing, but I understand that Kevin grew up watching BJ and the Bear, so he wants to make a reference about it. And then before I even am mad that I don't understand it, it's over and I'm gone.
Nick,
whereas for you, like this one, you're dropped into Scooby Doo. You're like, all right, this is happening for a while.
Yes,
Nick,
Kevin.
was BJ the monkey, or is the bear the monkey?
I have no idea what BJ and the Bear is.
Oh, really? It's the one where the
Yeah.
dude is a truck driver that has a monkey, right?
Sounds like you know a lot about it.
I don't know. I don't know
Only
that.
I feel,
through weird
I feel like what was
references.
happening there, Andy, and you'll understand this reference, is that Kevin was trying to fucking dunk on Nick, and Nick just fucking blocked his ass.
Yeah,
And
dude.
The ball
Funny,
bounced off the
dude.
back rim.
No, I legitimately-
ACL blown out.
I
A mad dog is
legitimately-
on the court. How did it get
Yeah.
here? It's eating Kevin's
It's
face.
very similar to that time.
Help, we
that
all run
Ashton-
away.
It's very similar to that time that Ashton Kutcher dunks on Sean William Scott, where he goes, "Hey, do you know what I wanted to do right now?" And Sean
Oh my
William
God.
Scott goes, "Eat," and he goes, "No, eat."
God, I hate dude.
It's fine,
So
dude.
good. It's so funny.
Tim,
movie.
I just googled BJ and the Bear, and they ride like an Optimus-looking truck, but it's red.
Jay and
There you
Silent
go.
Bob walk into movies. We again get the jingle. He's around and a monkey. And they go up there to order their food. And Jay's like, "Listen, we got to get to Hollywood and stop this movie. No more distractions under any circumstance." Bob gives him the thumbs up. Immediately, Jay turns and looks at the door, and Bon Jovi's "Bad Medicine" fucking hits Nick. Yola. And it's the one and only Shannon Elizabeth walking in without a bra or a very thin bra.
Show
on.
some
God
goddamn
damn,
respect, man.
Oh my
I
god! The
love
amount
this.
of times that I stole my uncle's American Pie DVD just to watch it at night. Good lord, dude! Now, what I do, like, I love this. Is this an homage at all to Wayne's World with
It must be Dreamweaver.
Garth? Yeah, Dreamweaver.
No,
like,
I think it's just,
I think it's just
done in
Yeah,
the style.
the choir of angels sing as this beautiful woman walks in. I think that's it.
okay.
I gave it to Dreamweaver.
Okay. have you-
Dreamweaver.
Who did it better?
I believe you
I mean,
can-
definitely Wayne's World.
Also, I blew past it, by the way, just because it's funny. Jay and Silent Bob see the internet terminal in movies and go over there and start posting on movie poop shoot. Then you're gonna eat our
Oh,
shit,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
made up
yeah.
of the shit, and then you're gonna shit your shit, like,
And
that's
then
funny.
we're gonna eat it. And that's
And
that
you
ends.
are the ones who are the ball lickers.
Andy Cortez.
Thank you, Tim. I have a new in review proposition. SNL movies based on skits in the shows. So we got
SNL,
Wayne's
yeah.
World, Wayne's World 2. We got Night at the
Night at the
Roxbury.
Roxbury.
We got
Coneheads.
the one,
Coneheads,
the
yeah.
Christian woman girl. What's her name?
Superstar.
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 Oh,
yeah, there's a lot of.
I'm liking
opportunities
this,
there.
Andy.
I'll think
So
about
far,
that.
I don't want to watch any.
I know, I don't wanna watch any of these movies.
Wayne's World 1 and 2? What are you
I would watch
talking
Wayne's World
about?
1 and 2, but Night of the Roxbury.
Night of the
can suck
Roxbury
it.
rules.
That movie's
so,
fucking terrible.
It's so good, dude.
Dude, where's my
Jay
car
Elizabeth
interview?
walks in. Jay is very much in a dream state watching her come in. He walks over there. He starts making out with her. He starts to squeeze her breast. She pulls it down and eye rolls while making out with him. We all are watching this happen, and then we cut back to Bob's perspective, who is just Jay staring, fantasizing about all this, licking his fingers, licking fake nipples, doing all this stuff, making out with people, having a huge fucking boner, just having this huge erection, maybe a normal size erection. And he turned. I'm not here to judge yes or no on dick sizes here. You know what I mean? It's like that time you guys made me watch that porn during
It
the
looked
kind of funny podcast.
thick.
Yeah,
Right?
it was
like,
girthy.
there was a girth to it.
It was girth.
Yeah. Like it was a large cup that they put and it fit it well.
Bob grabs a cup off of the movie counter there, puts it over the dick, and then comes over and he's like, Jay's like, what? And then Shannon comes
Wait,
up and she's like,
Nick.
Yeah.
Did you just have a moment of like, I don't remember seeing a fully exposed dick in this movie?
Yeah, I don't.
They're
Well, I
talking
was
about the
wondering
boner
what part
under
we
the
made Greg watch that it was so offensive that it burned into his memory today.
Nick, remember we ended up watching a porn on one of the old Gogs or Kind of Funny podcast, and at the same time when the first dick was exposed, you and I said at the same time, "Wow, that's a big one."
Oh, okay.
We both
Sure.
said it at the same time.
It does sound like something I would say.
When did we make Greg watch porn?
no, it's a joke from the other day where I remember it was one of my favorite Nick moments of recent era.
Okay,
And there's been many
'cause Nick
where we
made-
I'm still in the middle of the story. We watched it on the Kind of Funny we're talking on the Kind of Funny podcast. I watched it and I said, I don't want to alarm you guys, but there's a lot of big dicks on it. There's a lot of big dicks on this. And Nick goes, oh yeah.
So
Anyways.
Shannon Elizabeth's character is named Justice. and she decided she's going to wear glasses because Justice is blind. God
And
bless
shout
Shannon
out-
Elizabeth.
I'm gonna say this. This we'll get here in a second, but shout out to Shannon Elizabeth in this at the height of her powers, coming off of like still riding that American Pie
Scary
like
movie.
level of, and everyone's like, dude, she's gonna be a fucking superstar forever. Ooh.
And she is.
She had a shot. She was in and
Anyways,
out.
he's got a cup on his dick. She comes over and says, I don't even remember something. You get a value meal with that? You get fries with that or whatever? And this starts the conversation between Jay and Justice here. They are both immediately enamored with each other. They fall quickly in love at first sight, much like me and my wife. I had a couple
Heather Graham. Heather Graham was originally offered Shannon Elizabeth's role, but she turned it down because she couldn't figure out why her character would fall in love with Jay.
Great point. Great question.
Yeah, solid
But
point.
didn't she do Austin Powers?
Yeah,
She
but Austin
did, but
Powers,
Austin
you could
Powers
fall in
was
love
a
with.
spoof movie. And also he was charming and a super spy. Whereas Jay is like literally demeans her from the second she walks in the door, and you're like, wow, this is just an immediately inappropriate relationship. But you can't help who you love.
Again, it was the style back then to call women bitches and fine as fuck and stuff like that.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with calling a woman fine as fuck.
Okay. I apologize.
Or is there? Do we have to cross that one off my rubric?
I don't know. We'll let you know. If your wife's fine with it, you're fine.
Nick
So anyways,
Scarpino's
they strike up this conversation. They're falling in love, right? There's a little back and forth here, like you're saying, inappropriate, but she likes it or whatever.
She does it, and Shannon Elizabeth, to her credit, does a really good job of having of manifesting chemistry between herself and Jay, even though I don't know that it was there, but she does a good job of selling it. She does a good job of being in the character and making it okay that this character that she's acting opposite is a lovable idiot as opposed to just an offensive fucking miscreant.
And again, just like he turns to, what's your name, Justice? Jay and Justice. He's just doing this in front of her.
Not even sitting, though. They're fucking.
Everyone can clearly hear what's going on, right? And then, it's basically a little bit of catch up of like, oh, what's going on with you? She's like, oh, I'm, going across the country, and this is when she busts out the glasses with my friends. Oh, where are they? Oh, they're out there. And we get the unconceivable, unbelievable.
Great drop.
Sissy, Chrissy, and Missy all climb out of the van in their catsuits. Yes, I had to look at the IMDb page to remember all their names. But it's Elijah Dushku, Ali Larder, and of course, Jennifer Schallbach-Smith, Kevin's wife. They're over there, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? These, beautifully attractive women hop out of this fucking van or whatever. And this is where they can, Jay asks, and they say yes to giving him a ride, right? Yeah, and they'll give him a ride to wherever they're going.
Let's talk about this for a second. And Andy, you probably don't remember because you were like two when this movie came out. But they got Shannon Elizabeth, Elijah Dushku, and Ali Larder again at the height of all of their powers.
Yeah, totally.
Like Elijah Dushku probably coming right off of Bring It On.
Oh my god, Elijah Dushku was just like good.
She was on Buffy too, so I mean, like she was all about it.
She was also in True Lies the first time I saw her, which I think came out before this, and
just a little bit, just a
skosh, like 19.
She was 10 in that movie.
She was 15 in that
movie. Who's Ali? Who? Ali what?
Ali Larder, who is about to make either has already or is about to make waves in all of the college community by wearing a whipped cream bikini.
Oh, she already did Varsity Blues.
Yeah.
That's really? Wow.
She was in Final Destination. She was in Varsity Blues. Later, she would be in Heroes.
Resident Evil.
Nick, right?
No, not Heroes. She would be in Resident Evil.
I've only seen the Chris Evans version of the bikini, the whipped cream bikini. I just want to share that with you.
She did it better.
Not another teen movie.
I don't know. There was a banana involved with the Chris Evans version.
Well, there might be a banana involved.
That's a good movie right there, dude.
Dude, shout out to this group.
Heroes, 56 episodes. Go fuck yourself and watch Dude, Where's My Car again, you piece of shit.
What season was she in?
1 through 3.
Was she fucking really? I don't remember her in that show at all.
No, actually, I think she was just in seasons 1 and 2. What were her powers?
She was in 2006 through 2010.
She wasn't in it. There was always a photo of her from the waist down, like in every shot.
I stand corrected.
Your apology is accepted as well, and I will
accept your apology whenever you're ready to apologize about "Do Where's My Car" because you know that movie's fucking genius.
God, I hated that fucking movie. So now they're all in the van. Brent is also in the van. This is Sean William Scott. There's a few different conversations that are important here. first off, none of the other girls are happy that Jesse brought Jay and Silent Bob into this place. Jay can't believe that fine ass bitches like themselves would eat fast food, makes them fart. They're clearly oscillating back between being like fucking really hard as nails women, and then like Brent telling girls don't fart. And Brent, Sean William Scott, has this terrible hairdo, this retainer and braces and a guitar. He's like, of course girls don't fart.
I want to say it right now. Favorite character of this movie, Sean William Scott. Number 2 is Jamie Kennedy. Like, they are both phenomenal in this movie. Man.
You know why you love Sean William Scott? Because he's the lead. And Dude, Where's My Car? It all comes full circle.
He is not the lead in Dude, Where's My Car?
Sean William Scott?
He's a co-lead.
No, he's the like supporting character. It's what's his face the lead.
2 main actors in Dude, Where's My Car? It's Ashton Kutcher and Sean William Scott.
Ashton Kutcher and then
screen time.
No. Whose car was it?
When we do shitty movies in review, we'll have this discussion.
Kevin's defense for who the main character is saying, whose car was it?
It's true. And I can't honestly remember whose car it was, to be perfectly honest. I'm pretty sure it was the girl's car.
What? There's no girl.
There's 2 girlfriends in the movie. Have you seen Dude, Where's My Car?
I love this.
Wait, I don't think you've seen Dude, Where's My Car, Kevin.
I mean, not in like 10 years.
Oh, man. Dude, Where's My Car?
You know there's aliens in it?
Yeah, I remember that. There's like a really big girl, right?
Well, she becomes a giant.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
If you say big girl, that has a different connotation. I've watched a lot of 70s show, and they make a lot of bad references to Big Rhonda, and it's kind of sad. Because Big Rhonda was just tall.
All right.
What is happening?
May I continue? Or do you want this to be a fucking Dude, Where's My Car review? Because I will fucking leave and you can do it, Nick. All right.
The Dude, Where's My Car cast. Coming soon, kind of funny.
So in the car, it's all set up. The setup here, of course, is that they are part of an animal rights activist group from college. They're going out to Provasic. They're gonna pull this caper, free some animals, do a bunch of good stuff, and for the good of the animal community. That's why Brent's here, of course. But you would think these women are up to something else. Meanwhile, Brent makes it pretty clear that he's got the hots for Jussie, so everybody else back the fuck off. Jay immediately sees this and feels like he can capitalize on it, of course, with his master stroke of a plan of calling Brent over and then asking him, would he fuck a sheep? Brent says, of course he wouldn't. And Jay's like, well, what if you were a sheep? And he explains a little bit more. And he's like, all right, in that case, it's fucking on. At which point Jay announces to the eye, this dude's not one of us. He fuck a sheep. Throws him out of the moving vehicle with his guitar. Now who's smart, you sheep fucker?
Bizarre.
Yeah.
He didn't need him to say that. You know what I mean? He was just going to throw him out without any context that no one
not have no chance to defend himself.
Right. But I didn't like the excitement. I didn't like the excitement with the way where he was like, "Oh yeah, then I would." And it's like,
A deleted scene would lead to him giving the sheep the eyes, though.
Oh, okay. We need that context.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I can't remember if there actually is a sheep fucking scene, but I definitely remember there being eyes. I'm like.
That would, we need more of that backstory. Like in Lord of the Rings, we get more backstory on Aragorn and also like
cares about Acorn and fucking Gwen going down there.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, Andy, so you know how like we always connect the Clerks universe and Lord of the Rings, and we have for years here at Kind of Funny, which is why we're doing both in reviews at the same time. A fact that I didn't know is the composer that did Dogma is also the composer of the Lord of the Rings movies.
Wow.
Which one do you think he's more proud of?
The one that won all the awards, yeah.
Oh man, when we stop at convenience.
Hold on, real quick. I always think about the one moment that we had. Oh God, who was in our studio and we asked them about
Jessica Negri. It was Jessica Negri or Mia Khalifa. Both of them we asked.
Oh no. We asked Rocco. The moment I remember is Rocco from Mega 64, and he's on the morning show with Nick, and we bring up, what do you think is better, like Clerks 1 or 2 or the Lord of the Rings? And he goes, why the fuck would you compare those movies? And then it kind of dawned on me. I was like, yeah, why do we?
Because we're assholes. We're just complete assholes.
I wonder what the origin is of that. I don't remember it even a little bit.
It was like you talking shit about Lord of the Rings and then me going like, go ahead.
No, I feel like there was like Clerks News or something like that. Like when he was trying to make Clerks 3 and you had just finished talking about Lord of the Rings, and Kevin and I were both like, we have to fuck with Andy on this.
No, but Kevin's not fucking with. Kevin's real about it. But it's his birthday. I'll let him.
We stop at a gas station to pick up provisions, but also to get the girls alone so they can give Justice shit for fucking this up. Brent was the patsy, of course. They aren't really doing this. They have a different scheme in mind. You fuck this up, you've got to find us a new patsy. Maybe you should have Jay do it since he's so in love with you. He's not in love with me. Jay and Silent Bob, meanwhile, had stayed outside of this new convenience store in a funny scene of trying to find a way to post up on it like they did the Quick Stop, but it's a glass wall and they can't, so they're sliding around and moving. He's like, this place sucks balls compared to the Quick Stop. And once that was established, we had the conversation in there, which have a bunch of good throwbacks, I think, of whatever, right? Where he's just so sweet. And they cut outside and an attractive woman walks by and Jay just goes, hey, you ever have your asshole licked by a fat man in an overcoat?
I love that line so much.
Every time. Wait, was it that come first, or did it come first? They just they cut back to when he's just humping the glass.
No, that's the second one where I think it is. At least. It doesn't matter, but maybe I am wrong. Yeah, they cut back to when he's humping the glass or whatever like that. And they're like, too bad, Jesse, figure it the fuck out. Your name doesn't even match the rhyming scheme, but that might be later. Back in the car, Justice is going over plans for the diamond heist, but you have to be quick on the ball to see all that. And Jay saddles up next to her and starts talking to her. A bunch happens here too, where we introduce the boo boo kitty fuck because women don't like being called. Oh no, that's not here actually. Is it? Sorry, that's not right. He says more inappropriate stuff though. Eventually leading to the trouser snake joke of like, do you like all animal? Or, what about a trouser snake? And then the devil pops up. And then I forgot about it. The devil pops up, and then the other devil pops up. I fucking loved that.
That's
and
comedy, guys. That's fucking comedy.
Then the angel pops up with a black eye, talks him out of this, explaining, of course, this is a fine piece of woman that you have feelings for. Maybe you shouldn't do the normal perv bullshit on this one. Of course, again, I think comedically, all this happening in real time, where we get to cut back to Justice and Bob looking at each other like, I don't know what's fucking happening right now.
Yeah.
But eventually, they cut back, and Jay's like, you know what, never mind. It's better you don't know. And finally, she's like, the girls need help or whatever, right? They need somebody who will go in and get the monkey. And Jay immediately agrees to it. And she's like, wait, you would? And he's like, yeah, of course I would. And like, I'll do anything for you. I'll do anything for you. She fucks off to the front of the thing again. And then in one of my favorite, like, genuine moments, there's a couple of scenes they left in this film where the actors break, but they just leave it in. Because again, it's like, if you're watching this film, you probably fucking like view Askew and you like seeing them be themselves. But where Jay jumps on Bob and I can't believe I'm about to get some pussy for stealing a monkey, stealing a little monkey. And you see Kevin Smith break and like he pushes off laughing and he has to come back because the scene is supposed to be him pressed up or whatever. If I knew it was that easy, I would have been stealing monkeys since fucking kindergarten or whatever the hell Jay says.
There's another moment later, I think I want to say Brody, where someone.
No, it's Banky. It's Banky. Yeah, at the end. It's with Marshall Willenhall. Yeah, where he's like, everybody's kissing, and he turns to me, he's like, despite what you may have heard, I don't kiss guys or whatever. And Will Ferrell just goes, okay, play it cool, hotshot. Yeah. And fucking Jason Lee breaks, and they just left it in the film. Like, who cares?
God damn, fucking Will Ferrell.
Right, he's so funny. Anyways, though, now we roll up to Provasic, the animal testing facility. Jay and Silent Bob have their masks on because, again, they'll be the ones infiltrating. The girls will not. Before they go in, this is where they get out and they're walking, and Jay says something about bitches or whatever, and Allie Larder turns around like she's gonna fucking kill him. It's like, what's twisting that bitch's knit? I'm trying to say tit. Jesus, nipple and tit shoved together there. And she's like, well, maybe it's because women don't like being called bitches, right? They're like, what should I call you? And they eventually come down to boo boo kitty fuck, something cute and not demeaning. Okay.
One of the facts I have here about the women here is that Missy, who was Jennifer Smith, Kevin Smith's wife, one of the jewel thieves, was making her film debut, and several scenes of her making out with Ali Larder were cut for time, not due to their content. Several scenes.
Oh yeah,
she's a weird one too, because I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand like you cast your wife, whatever, but it's so funny. It's so funny to me that it's Shannon Elizabeth, Ali Larder, Elijah Dushku, who are like in and of their rights, like these unbelievably popular actresses at the time for these very well noted one-off movies, and then you just get to Kevin Smith's wife. I always just thought she kind of sticks out like a sore thumb in this group.
She's the Hawkeye of the group, where it's just like, oh, you're here.
It's very strange because you would assume that should have been like a Gabrielle Union or a Kirsten Dunst or like any of those other female characters that were like super popular at the time. But it's so funny because the other three have such good chemistry, and this is not a knock against her. She just doesn't feel like she fits this group at all.
I'm glad I am here for this moment because I was so confused, and I like I'd like to think I know a decent amount about 90s, like late 90s, early 2000s sort of comedy and people and actors. And I just like, I don't know who this woman is. Like everybody else I've seen in stuff before. I don't know who this is. And I totally agree with you, Nick. Like a Kirsten Dunst, even like at that time, Beyonce, who would like then go on to do Austin Powers. Like any of that would have worked, but I was really confused by that choice. That totally makes sense now.
I was always, and I granted watching it as a younger kid, I guess, whatever, was more. I was always impressed that I thought she pulled it off in a way that didn't stick out like a sore thumb to me. But I'm clearly in the minority because literally when we were watching the movie last night, as soon as she steps out of the van, Jen was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Who is this woman? She doesn't fit at all." I'm like, "Oh, it's Kevin's wife."
I'm in the same boat as Greg, where like when I found out it was Kevin Smith's wife, I was like, "Oh, cool that he put her in there and that she fits so well with the little group." But yeah, guess not.
Anyways, though, before they go in, Elijah Dushku's like, hey, Jay, we'd like to get you say a few words about the clitoris. We're doing a thing here for our human sexuality class, and we need a male's perspective on the clit. He's like, I got a few things to say about the clit. I'd like you to hear them too to justice, right? I am the clit commander. Just like immediately into this.
There's something about when Jay gets super like aggro about shit that is the funniest fucking thing. And like, you look at Jason Mewes and you're like, not a tremendously great actor. He's gotten better at playing the role of Jay over the years and has settled into that character. But when he hits, it gets a laugh out of a young, 16-year-old Nick Scarpino like you would not fucking believe. I am the clit fucking master.
It makes me laugh every time when he's like, and then I get in there, I go like this, I get it like this, I go, oh, you look. I think it's another one where Jay starts to laugh at the end of it, and they just like, fuck it, it's too good, leave it in. And they close it off like, thanks for that. Shannon Elizabeth is pissed, but we don't understand why. And the boys go to infiltrate. They begin rolling through the parking lot like a bunch of clowns. Meanwhile, the girls go back into the van. Jay and Silent Bob are gonna get in there. Bob pulls back out the old grappling hook for Mallrats, shoots it up there. He now has a Silent Bob utility belt. He puts it on. They go up there. They smash through a window into the building. Meanwhile, with the dual planes of action, the women are revealed to be in cat suits. And we get a whole bunch of slow-mo posing. Like, we know what we're doing here. This is gratuitous because we want gratuity of Shannon Elizabeth completely bent over, rubbing her inner thigh. Like, Jesus Christ.
Had to get it across.
They're stretching, guys. Mm-hmm. You have to stretch. It's important.
Gotta stay limber.
They're going into the Diamond Exchange across from Provasic. They have a whole bunch of they're a girl gang. Again, you're talking about things getting cut down and then feeling out of place or whatever. Like, first off, there's a whole subtext or a whole storyline, plot point, I guess, that everyone thinks Jay's a kid when they first see him. And there's a few different points where there's lines of dialogues referencing that kid or whatever. Like, even Tracy Morgan's like, I don't know, the fuck you just said, little kid, but you reached down, you touched your brother's heart. Like that. There was a whole fucking thing of this of like, they think based on the way he's dressed that he's a kid.
Interesting.
Then there's another one like you're talking about with the girl gang of like that. Not only are they this girl gang, they're all like in love with each other, right? And like to the point of Ali Larder and Jen making out all the time, and like their weird sex party afterwards, and the girl, whatever. They have this like all their girl spy shit is very girl spy shit, right? Where the decibel counter is a birth control thing, and all these, it's all hot pink or whatever. They infiltrate the
Speaking of what Jay was wearing, he's wearing a Berserker t-shirt with the image of Olaf, the Russian metalhead from Clerks.
Yep. He's also wearing a Movies employee shirt underneath that, and then a jacket over that because layers for some reason.
Layers. Movies have layers.
They do. Movies have layers. So do onions. Both will make you cry. You know what I mean, Andy? Think about it. They infiltrate the Colorado Diamond Exchange. They're going in there. They got to be quiet. They got to be fast. Jen stays outside to have the car ready and running, and also set a bomb on the old car, the van they were in. Now that Nick's gone, God, I can't. We got to stop talking about Dude, Where's My Car? All right, like it's terrible, and I will not watch that in any circumstance again. All right, Andy, you're the closest to him. You got to talk him down.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll let him know.
Meanwhile, on the other plane of action, Jay and Silent Bob are wandering around the testing facility. They find a trank gun there. Jay's like, take it for me, Bob. That way we can get high on the stuff and fuck like stoned test bunnies. Me and Justice after the fact. they're looking around at all the different animals. Eventually one makes a noise. They come back and it's well, I don't think it's not even revealed yet. It just says Suzanne on the cage, right? Which if we know our Mallrats reference, we know what will be. It'll be an orangutan. Duh.
Duh.
We cut back to the Diamond Exchange.
Classic scene from Mallrats.
Right, of course. How can you forget the ending? We just walk down a road for forever, the entire credits. Cut back to the Diamond Exchange. They walk into where the diamonds are. They use some of their girl stuff, and it's lasers everywhere. Elijah Dushku does her weird cat suit gymnastics through it. She moves her titties around too before she does it. She gets there and she smacks it like she just fucking owned it. Shannon Elizabeth does it, and then she smacks it, making fun of Elijah Dushku, showing that this girl gang is in trouble. You know what I mean? And then Ali Lauder does it as well, but she does it like totally unbelievable whole fantasy running along
Matrix.
the side of the
Yeah,
wall.
the Matrix style, right?
Yeah.
Mission Impossible 2 status.
Yeah, I was thinking, what's the Crouching
The
Tiger? Yeah, I thought as well. You think I was gonna say what's the movie we were just referenced? She lands though, and she lets out a fart, which sets off a decibel meter, which sets off.
Kevin, you're
the
on fire today, bro. You're
You
on
are
fire
doing it. It's your birthday. You know what I mean?
Whose car was it?
I do want to note that Cool Greg popped into Twitch chat for the most rare appearance ever, right? When Cool Greg pops into Twitch chat, because he's usually there, but it was funny that he typed in and he said, "Whose car was it?" Is the funniest shit I've ever heard ever.
Good stuff, Cap.
Wait, was the other dude really that much? Like, I know that they were both in the movie, but I really thought it was just Ashton Kutcher's. Like,
we gotta stop
you know?
before Nick gets back.
Yeah.
Where's he
I don't wanna talk
been?
about
He's
things.
been gone for a long time. Usually he poops like an hour ago. This is weird.
So the alarm goes off. They break the glass. They grab the diamonds. They run outside. They jump in the car. Months of planning blown by a fucking fart. They drive away. Meanwhile, and I skipped a little bit here. Back in the testing lab, they had whatever Suzanne is in the bag, and then Bob was sad looking around. He's like, and Jay's like, I know you're sad. But what are we supposed to do? They get the idea, of course. It's a cut scene of them, or a scene of them. It cuts to a scene of them running out. All the animals in the lab rushing out behind them and running off. Jay, Silent Bob start running towards the van. However, the cops show up at that point. Like, holy fuck! Before anything can happen, the van explodes. Jay drops down to his knees and screams, "Justice!" There's this like, "Justice is dead. Release Jay, thanks," which I think is funny, like opera or whatever about it. That all happens. The girls got away. I forgot how Jay and Silent Bob escaped the situation. Anybody remember? They just run the other direction.
Yeah, they just run the other direction with the monkey.
Perfect. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Now it's in the morning at the thing, and the cops are out there doing their cop thing, and in rolls Marshall Willenholly, right? Yeah. Will Ferrell himself. He rolls up. He's from the Federal Fish and Wildlife Board or whatever the fuck it is, and he's here to take over this investigation. He's a complete fucking idiot, of course, right?
It's weird. Like I mean, you show me a movie where Will Ferrell plays like a bit part, and I'll show you a movie that I love. I just didn't really feel him in this one. I don't know why. I love when he pops up in random shit, but it seems like this may have been too early Will Ferrell, that I don't know. Just the way he acted and presented the character was a little like too much. I don't know.
He's a weirdo and he's a complete moron, of course, which we'll find out eventually is why he failed the FBI test and is not an FBI agent instead of Fish and Wildlife. He's here to take over this whole thing. The cops are like, "You're a fucking idiot. This has nothing to do with that. It's about the diamonds over there." He's like, "Sounds like the plot to a bad movie." And they look at the camera. Then there's an interruption from another police officer who's like, "This just arrived. It's a tape they sent." And Will Ferrell grabs like, "Does anybody have a VCR?" This is where we cut to the room that I star in, my image in the background of it.
Of course.
They watch this. We are the Clit, and it's this whole organization about the animal terrorist group known as the Clit. I forget what the breakdown is of it. They watch it's Jay's video cut together to make it look like they, of course, did this and they're terrorists. Also, I mean, again, think about the luck on this one. If you put out a movie August 2001, late August 2001, throwing around a comedy, throwing around the words terrorist this much. All right, God bless you, Kevin.
That's interesting.
That's how it's gotta go, right? And at the end, they say we're going to Hollywood, right? Yeah, Jay says something about Hollywood, and that's how Will Ferrell knows they're going to Hollywood. I think. Is this where it was?
No, I think that later somebody pulls like a document was like, we found him online.
Online, you're right. Sorry. So this is that the announcement of the clit and that they're terrorists and all this shit like that.
Hey, real talk, the clit thing's hilarious.
It's really funny,
Yeah.
and I also really, really like the intro graphic. That's the ape, the robotic ape with the robotic voice. It's cool.
From there, we jump to the desert where Jay, Bob, and Suzanne are gathered around there. Jay's freaked out by the monkey. He doesn't know what to do, but it's Justice's monkey. He doesn't know what to do. The monkey obviously starts talking. Him and his son, or not talking, but like, motioning and interacting and stuff. So like, they're like, oh my fuck, it's a smart monkey. It's a super smart monkey. Jay has, again, this entire thing of like, let's have another fantasy shoved in here of like, what if this is the beginning of a race of super monkeys, right? And he talks about X-Files, and then they actually have the smoking man from fucking X-Files there with the monkey or whatever, how it's going to begin this race of smart monkeys, and then it's a Planet of the Apes ripoff of these Planet of the Apes capturing Randall in a field. Then it's Jay with his used guys at the blown up Statue of Liberty, just like the end of Planet of the Apes, right?
Tim, did you watch this movie with Cool Greg?
Yes.
Did he like get visibly excited at this point?
He did.
Yeah.
Cool Greg,
all right.
big Planet of the Apes fan. Yeah.
The original
really?
Planet of the Apes fan. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Wow, that's cool.
Awesome. So we come out of the dream sequence, and Jay's like, we got to kill the monkey or whatever. He runs over there. He trips. Suzanne comes in and kisses him, right? Yeah, kisses him or pats him on the head. I forget what. And Jay's like, all right, cool. Well, Justice died for this monkey, so we should take care of this fucking monkey, I guess. Then it's now it's Will and Holly on like a media tour, right? Because the clit's taken off. Jon Stewart drops in here on a green screen to be like, hey, let's talk about the clit and all this stuff. And there's a bunch of jokes about the clit, right? And
they're an offshoot of the labia.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, of course, liberation and whatever it is. Yeah, it's fucking funny as hell. But basically, how you shouldn't approach the clit and all this other stuff, right? And joking around. Yeah, so they're making the rounds on the news. And then we go to the house where the girls are throwing their celebration party for their whatever number at the heist. They're all in their blonde panties. 37th? Oh, 37 dick. Yeah. They're all there celebrating or whatever. Justice not feeling it. They all start giving Justice shit for not feeling it, mainly Elijah Dushku, right? Of how this is going on. Just like, you got to grow up sometime. Pizza guy shows up. It's actually Joe Quesada from Marvel, hence the joke of Marvelous Pizzas. Then, and you know what? Elijah Dushku's like, I need to fuck somebody, so I'm going to fuck you. And he goes up there to fuck her, not charge you for the pizzas. From there, now we're in a diner, right? Jay and Silent Bob and Suzanne are in a diner. They're eating food, and Suzanne's eating food, and she's feeding Silent Bob. They're trying to come up with what the fuck they're going to do and how they're going to get out of this and yada, yada, yada. I forget how we connected it. I think they're just like, as long as we lay low, nothing will happen. And immediately, it's
where they were at the end of the like little talk they have in the wilderness. He's like, let's go get food, and he's like, it's like no one knows that like we stole the monkey, and then they're
kicks up the packages of explaining that everybody knows they stole the monkey.
Yeah,
gotcha. So yeah, the cops are there. The lead cop being who, Nick?
Judd Nelson
from the Breakfast Club, who of course got a shout out in Dogma for being hard.
Transformers, the animated movie that we watched last week.
Who was he in Transformers, the animated movie?
Hot Rod.
Huh, look at that. Judd Nelson, what a career. I remember him from a Tales of the Crypt episode where he had this thing where he could hear, if he heard you play music and you were going to be like, you could be a megastar, he would get this like intense pain or whatever. And then he would, make you a megastar, and then you'd always die tragically. And what had happened was that it was the whole movie. You saw this and you saw the rise and fall of some fucking star he saw, and he was trying to change their fate, but he couldn't. And so he came home at the end of the episode because, Tales from the Crypt, Nick always had like that, like hard ending, like, oh my God, what about it? He came home and his daughter was playing piano and he got it. And he was like, oh, fuck. And he's like, I don't want my daughter to have that kind of life. I don't want my daughter to be ruined like this. So he took off his wedding ring, put it in his pocket. And then he said, honey, can you come over here? You have smaller hands. I dropped my wedding ring down into the sink. And so when she reached down there, he flicked down the garbage disposal, and that's how the episode ended. That way her hand would be torn apart and she couldn't play music, and she would never have the horrible ending.
Wow.
That I think is honestly.
Did he get arrested for this?
I think so.
No, because it was an accident. It was an absolute accident.
Do you know how much it would have sucked when he was like, "Oh nope, it was in my pocket."
Yeah, that's the thing. As I said it, I'm pretty sure he did that, but it was a stupid way to do it. Why wouldn't you just put it in the real thing? No, no way to prove that.
Well, why does she have to lose her fingers and you lose your ring?
Just break her hand.
You know what? That's a great point.
I would have done the thing where you shut the piano. You know, the little door that was always terrifying.
Yeah,
Why would the door? Shut it real hard, break a couple of her fingers.
Door.
And
That's
then
a very good point, Nick.
It's to keep the dust off it.
But then there's dust on the door.
I missed where you said it was an episode or something. I was thinking like
You thought he did this in real life?
I was like, what?
You
Dude,
thought this man was psychic?
Well, first off, I Google him. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's the Breakfast Club guy? Oh, my God, he looks nothing like that. Like, obviously, the long hair, he's got, like, this crazy goatee now. And then you're telling this crazy anecdote. And I remember you saying, wow, what a great actor. I was like, wow, we celebrated this man. And he destroyed his wife. Oh, my God, dude. Holy
Did you also
shit.
think he had a mystical power to hear when people were going to be rock stars, Andy? Did you miss that part?
I missed that
You missed
part,
the part
yeah.
where he had a
I missed that part. Well, because I was Googling him. Well, because I guess I was
But I feel like that was a big part of that
Yeah,
last bit story.
I was mostly fascinated by the fact that anybody would name their kid Judd. And I was like,
Judd is
clearly
hard.
he's got to have a real name. And it's just Judd. It just sounds like an onomatopoeia. It sounds like a one for a
Yeah.
or a
Hey,
chop
Some weird
or a-
noise that's happening.
Yeah, good.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
Just looking it up, you'll be happy to know that if you have a Hulu subscription, you can watch Dude, Where's My Car for free.
Oh, Jesus
I
Christ.
thought you were going to say the Judd Nelson Tales of the Crypt episode. But no.
No,
Nick,
nobody
is,
wants
that,
Greg?
is that where you went when you were gone for 30 minutes earlier?
All right, so we have to do a few a retraction here because I want you to know how it went. Right, is that I said all that, and then I was like, there was another great Tales from the Crypt episode that had Christopher Reeve and Robert Downey Jr. in it, where they sold human flesh, they fed it to people. But then when I Googled that to find out that episode's name, I found out, in fact, it was Judd Nelson in that episode. In which I was like, wait, was Judd Nelson in 2 fucking banger episodes of Tales from the Crypt? One with Superman, Christopher Reeve, and no. So Tales from the Crypt, What's Cooking is the episode where Christopher Reeve and Judd Nelson cook human beings. Then there was a TV movie called Strange Frequency. That was a horror anthology that had the Judd Nelson piano episode. I'm talking about.
Got it.
So I
That makes
apologize
sense.
to everyone.
Good
I
to
don't
know.
want to
That's
leave you
why
astray.
Greg, that's why people listen to this podcast for
That's in the
corrections.
business right here, because I'll keep it honest. I'll never lie like some do about dudes. Where's my car? Outside, though, Judd Nelson is like, come on outside with the fucking monkey. We know you're in there with the monkey. Will Ferrell shows up and he's like, I'm here. I'm in charge now. And they're like, you fucking suck. And he's like, no, I'm in charge. He takes the megaphone. He's like, come on out with the monkey. And like, we need to come up with the cleverest plan possible to leave with this monkey. And Jay looks at a kid and steals all of that kid's clothes, leaving that kid naked and afraid inside of his diner.
What he was about to say is like, I'm not a kid, like as to imply that he's not as smart as a child, right?
I don't know what you're referencing right now. I'm sorry, I don't remember. This
It doesn't matter. What he says right before he looks at the kid, it doesn't matter though. It's just what a weird line.
Well, again, if you remember what I was talking about, there was a whole subtext to this that Jay was being mistaken as a kid the entire time.
I don't believe you. That seems that doesn't
I
make
mean,
he's tall.
I don't
adds up,
usually
though.
lie
It's
in
stupid.
in review.
But watching this movie, I was confused at how many references there were to people calling him a kid. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? And if there's more story to that, it was unnecessary. I hate it.
I'm Googling it for you.
Well, then we get to the best scene here. And I want to tell you guys how just back in the day, if you put Will Ferrell in, he would just elevate everything. And it sucks because he's so much better than everyone else in this movie that you almost want him to be the lead.
Wait, really quick. In the chat, All That Juice says, it's like Tim's blonde joke. But I'm looking at Tim right now, and his hair looks completely blonde in this lighting. Completely blonde in this
You look like
understand.
Shakira. You look like Shakira.
Whatever. So Jay, Silent Bob, and Suzanne walk out with Suzanne being dressed as this kid now, except still clearly an orangutan. Like under no circumstances, it's a child and not an orangutan because it fucks around and does orangutan-y things.
Tim, you look like a Dobre brother.
You look like the
That's
fifth
a
Dobie
really
brother.
good compliment,
I
Tim.
took that as a
no matter how
compliment for
hard
a
he tried,
second,
could
and
never
then I got
do
insulted, Andy.
Yeah.
I'm conflicted.
That was meant to be a compliment.
Judd Nelson immediately sees through this, of course, and is like, "No, that is obviously clearly a monkey." And Will Ferrell immediately jumps to like, "Listen, I don't want you. This could blow. This will be a PR fiasco if we stop this gay couple and their kids from being. It might not be my lifestyle, but it's a lifestyle choice nonetheless." And Jay's got a line of like, "You wouldn't want us going back to our liberal cities with tales of persecution from your smaller state," or whatever the hell he says. And they're like, "No." Or Will Ferrell's like, no, fucking Judd, they won't listen to Judd. And so they let them walk off all of 3 feet on one side. And literally as soon as they clear the diner, Will Ferrell's like, "Fuck, that was them, wasn't it?" Jay and Silent Bob think they got away with it. They didn't. They take off running. There's a million bullets flying through the air now as they've just opened fire on them and this innocent monkey. They see a sewer pipe. Jay dives down it. Suzanne dives down it. Bob goes to dive down it and gets stuck in it like Winnie the Pooh. They're shooting at him. Judd Nelson's like, "Fire a warning shot into his bulbous ass." Finally, as the shot goes and again misses, Bob is thrown down there. Jay says, like Winnie the Pooh. They start making their way through these sewer tunnels. The cops and Will and Holly run up there, and Will and Holly's like, "I'm going to go down there by myself, corner them. Once I do, I'll radio for backup." They're all like, "Okay." Will and Holly does a really shitty job getting down there. And finally, Judd Nelson's like, "Fuck this guy and this thing who wants to go cornhole us some drunks." And they're all like, "Yeah." So they go back to the station.
What's your definition of cornholing?
Are they gonna go rape a bunch of people in prison right now?
Yeah, right? I think so.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Jay and Silent Bob are going. They eventually come to the end of like Hoover Dam or whatever is where they are in this dam pipe. While they're figuring out that situation, Marshall, Will, and Holly approaches them. Like, we got a Tommy Lee Jones fugitive moment here, telling them to turn around, put your hands above their heads, get on your knees, kind of thing. He's gonna make us suck them off. No, wait, and he's like, nobody's getting sucked off. At which point Suzanne has put her, what do you call it? Her legs, I guess, but what do you call those paws? Her paws or
those
paws?
are hands. Right, those are monkey
On her
hands.
feet?
No.
They have 2 sets of hands.
Yeah, they got hands.
Yeah, hands.
Yeah, I mean they're longer
they're
and stretchy.
So her bottom hands are on the pipe.
Sorry,
and her
they
top
don't
hands
stretch.
reach up and they grab up onto Jay and Silent Bob's hands. They yank them over the side. We think they've fallen. So does Will and Holly. Will and Holly's like, "Oh man, these guys are ballsy. I like their style." He runs and he jumps off the thing. And as he rotates, Jay yells at him, "Fuck you," or whatever. And Will and Holly's like, "No," and says something else, and he falls into the water. Is this where were we here, Nick? With your, this is Will Ferrell's best moments.
Well, I just think Will Ferrell.
I love this one.
Yeah, just as in general as a character, is great in this. And this is when he was like, I think he was very popular because he was still maybe on SNL back then, but he hadn't quite hit Will Ferrell like I can actually be a lead in the movie yet.
Sure.
So they would just, this is back in the day when you just pepper in a little Will Ferrell if you wanted to take your movie up to like 11.
Sure, that makes sense. Jay and Silent Bob Suzanne climb to the top of the dam. Suzanne way in front of them. By the time Jay and Silent Bob surface, a station wagon has picked up Suzanne and is driving away with a sign on the back that says "Critters of Hollywood." Jay freaks out. There's no way for us to know where they're taking Suzanne now. Bob does this pantomiming charades shit you were talking about earlier of the sign. He keeps trying to go sign Hollywood. Jay's giving him shit and does the thing of like, I tell that fucking Amy story. You can't say, I forget what the first part is, or damn, these are some good cheese fries. At which point Bob finally grabs them and screams, "The sign says Critters of Hollywood, you fucking idiot," or whatever. Say it, don't spray it. And they start walking. Now we jump back to the police station where I guess they've cornholed some drunks and are sitting around there reminiscing how stupid Will and Holly is with his, "And might I add, what a lovely family you have." Will and Holly walks in, soaking wet, turns his head over, water falls out of it. He says something, they have a little bit of conversation, and then there's a reveal, yes, that they have these printouts of the chats from the message board. Where you're going to eat your shit, and it'll be made up of our shit, and then you'll shit out our shit, which is made up of our shit. We're going to Hollywood, though. They're going to Hollywood. Hollywood, we know where they're going. From there, we are into Hollywood. The Hollywood sign, the palm trees, everything you'd expect from La La Land, Andy. And then it's a Jeep with Silent Bob in the back and a pretty girl driving it. And then Jay comes up from eating her out because he's following the unwritten rules of the road. And then he gets out, and Bob kind of gives him a look, and he's like, What? Justice is dead. It's not like I'm cheating or anything. They wander through the streets of Hollywood trying to figure out how they're going to figure out where this movie is being made. They cross paths with two gentlemen, one of which is Tracy Morgan, and says, "You want some crack or whatever?" I forget what he sells. He says, "Cocaine, yeah, crack." And he's like, "No, you want some?" I don't know. I should know. When I looked at him, I'm like, I guess I should know this guy.
The guy with him has got to be some like friend of Kevin Smith's or like an executive. I think
he's a comedian.
He didn't act or obviously.
He was there. His Silent Bob, right?
He's supposed to be his Silent Bob, but just his expressions and the way he reacted to stuff showed me that this guy's never been on camera ever before. I just thought,
I like to think that in the Askewniverse world, every drug dealer has a sidekick who doesn't talk. That's just like what you have to have if you want to be in the union. It's like a sniper and a spotter.
They bust out their cards. They are both local, Jersey local, LA local, talking about if you're getting healthcare out there. No, we might have to strike. It's a funny little exchange, right? So and Jay lays it all out of what's going on, right? And just explains the entire thing. And then Tracy Morgan's line that I remember so well because it was on the soundtrack. But like, I don't know what the fuck you just said, little man. But you reach out, you touch your brother's heart. He's gonna help him find it. He knows everything that's going on in Hollywood, right? Do you know? There's been a lot of Miramax jokes, by the way, too. We left all that out because we're just recapping this thing. But do you know where the Miramax lot is? Miramax, they make up 70% of my business. So Jay and Silent Bob know they need to head to Miramax. Back in the all-girl gang bang-a-thon or whatever, Justice is still pouting with the diamonds. She's watching TV. It's E, right? Where they're like, is Hollywood ready for Jay and Silent Bob? Some guy I don't remember from E, but he was the thing. I don't watch much E.
I remember that guy.
I remember that guy, yeah.
I did.
And he's like, there's the clit. The bad guys are on the move. They put up this crazy thing, and they found this chat log now. It says they're going to Hollywood, but nobody knows what Jay and Silent Bob look like, right? Jules. They cut to Jules Asner, who's out there, another E correspondent. Is she related to Ed Asner? Does anybody know that? Anybody?
I imagine so. I can look it up.
Thank you. And she gives a whole report on it of like, security's tight around here, but the problem is nobody knows what Jay and Silent Bob actually even look like. Sorry. So, and as she's saying all this, of course, Jay and Silent Bob walk in the background. Justice sees this, freaks out. She, at this point, I think says, fuck it, grabs the diamonds and leaves. Jay and Silent Bob, are mugging for the camera or whatever. And then the Jules things end. That makes sense. Yeah, Jules Asner's thing ends. And now Jay and Silent Bob will need to get inside the Miramax studio on the lot. And it's a good one, I think. Of just like, all right, we got to play this just right. And Bob nods, and they just both whistle and walk along the security, and then just do a dead sprint or whatever. And then I always fuck up his name, Diedrich Barrington. Is that right, Nick? Dieter.
I think it's
You know what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
The voice of Batman. One of the voices of Batman, and also obviously
Williams. No, Dieter. I think it's Dieter or something. I look it up. God damn it! I'm on two now. I gotta. When you're ready for the Jules Asner recap, I have.
You can give me that if you want.
Okay, so she was married to Ed Asner's son.
Oh, okay. Was
so 1992 to 1996, she was married to Matthew Asner, son of Ed Asner, which I assume is where she got the name. She was born Julie Ann White.
Dietrich Bader.
Bader.
Well, what sucks is you figure
Bird Rock from the Sun guy? No,
he's in everything.
No, that's
and
French
it's so weird.
Stewart.
There we go.
Who was in an episode of that 70s show that I watched last night where he tried to win a car by keeping his hand on it.
Did he get it?
No, that ended up, it was between him and Kelso, and Jackie came to berate Kelso, but then she was so annoying that French Stewart decided to he had to yell at her, and he took his hand off the car. But he catheterized himself beforehand and peed into one of those Gatorade bottles.
Wait, did Ashton Kutcher get the car?
Ashton Kutcher did get the car. Yes.
Wow.
Sounds familiar.
It's a nice VW bug.
Mm-hmm. God, I know, right? And Nick's got his fucking through in this episode.
He lost his car. And then Scott's like, dude, where's your
car?
You got it. And he goes, where's my car, dude? And then he goes, dude, where's your car? And he goes,
Nick finally got there.
Car, dude. Dude, where's your car?
Dietrich Bader gives chase to the guys.
Whose car was it?
Does he doesn't immediately catch him, right? Because I know we're about to go through a million different things, but I know he does eventually get caught and then they knock him out. But that's the ending of it, right?
On this one, first they go to Goodwill Hunting, too.
That's after. No. That's after he gets caught. So he catches them pretty quick.
Because let's just shove it all together. He catches, and this is what a lovely tea party. Where he's like,
that's where that crescendos.
This is more of the gay jokes, right? Of like if you let us go, this guy will suck you off. He's like, despite what you may have heard, not everyone in Hollywood is gay. And he goes, all right, well, what about this then? He sucks me off, and you get to jerk off and wash. He's like, all right, come over here. And he puts him down. He's like, and when you finish, you say, oh, what a lovely tea party. And so Bob is about to suck Jay's dick. Jay knocks out Diedrich, and he's like, can't be about to suck my dick. And Bob's like, no, it wasn't. And he leaves. And Bob looks at the camera, like, I was about to suck his dick. We run through a bunch of Miramax stuff here. Yeah, like we said. One of them being, do we go to Scream last, or is that in here? Because that's in here, obviously.
I think it's last, but a fact I have about that is Selma Hayek was originally going to reprise her role as Serendipity, the muse from Dogma, working on the Miramax lot. But due to scheduling conflicts, she had to drop out, and there was a painting of her at the start of the Scream 3 spoof.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh. Anyways, let's just toss in there. Scream 3 stuff happened. Well, I guess that's when they get back Suzanne, so that's the end of this mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Goodwill Hunting. I thought there was a stop before then. There was a couple of little ones, weren't there? But anyways, the Goodwill Hunting, they bust onto set thinking it's going to be, in fact, they know that it's a Ben Affleck, Matt Damon project. They're like, they already heard earlier that from Ben Affleck, but as Holden, that they put them in everything, right? So this has got to be Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. They get on set. They're all set to make their move, 3, 2, 1. But then at the last second, they call, all right, shooting now on Goodwill Hunting 2, hunting season. They clap. Well, this is the lemon face, line face. They're making fun of Ben Affleck's dyed tips or whatever. No, I think remember his dyed tips, frosted tips. Diedrich Baker also Bader had already called in, right? That he had a whatever in the what's that, another dead hooker in Ben Affleck's trailer? No, that's a whatever the hell it is. It's this one.
I like that joke. He was like, aha.
Yeah, no, that's why I seeded it, right? Yeah. Then it starts and it's Goodwill Hunting 2 sequel or whatever with the same guy who the How About Them Apples guy. Of course, same bar, all this different stuff. But like to Kevin's point, Ben Affleck chewing the scenery and being this weird, well, I don't like them apples, Will. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing here. I don't know why this is happening.
It kind of made me want to rewatch Goodwill Hunting because I haven't seen it in a long time, and it's like maybe Ben Affleck's character was an idiot because I remember, but he's not like a student. He's the janitor's friend, right?
I mean, it's just like.
The idea was that this like Goodwill Hunting was like a legit movie, and this is just a money grab as they keep cutting back to Gus Van Sant, who was he's just literally counting his money. So the idea was that this movie was Goodwill Hunting 2 was such a fucking money grab that nobody gave a shit about it, and he was fucking Ben Affleck was just acting like that.
I understood the idea of it. I just wanted to see if there were any reasons why Ben Affleck was like, I'm gonna go over the top this time.
Like I wonder,
wanted to be in this, and it was going to turn into a fucking action horror or action movie or whatever, and they thought it was
applesauce, bitch.
Like you wonder if Ben Affleck was like playing a character of himself in that. I see what you're coming from, Kev. I thought a lot of this was like pretty funny. I enjoyed the over the top dumb bullshit. You know,
what was interesting about it was watching it when it's all going on. I'm like, Jen's like, what is this a reference to? I was like, oh, you've never seen Goodwill Hunting. And I'm like, oh, well then, yeah, this 3 minutes is just garbage. You don't understand what the fuck's going on because it's not this movie. I'm like, we should watch Goodwill Hunting. It's a very good movie.
They had won the Academy Award during Dogma, right?
Dogma, yeah.
So they were, at this point, they were both breaking. But like that, what's hilarious is like that they dressed the dude up, the blonde guy up in the same like bad wig and the same college. And I love that back and forth where he's like, now I've read books you haven't even heard of.
Yeah, it's a sequel. It's an actual sequel within this movie.
I wonder if Kevin Smith wanted like something else from Ben Affleck, and Ben Affleck's like, "You're getting what you're getting, dog." Like, I'm big shit.
He's just doing it to torture him.
Yeah,
he's like, "Cut, please, man, don't do that voice." Like, Ben Affleck.
Didn't they have like a falling out like after this?
Yeah, but we all know that was Jennifer Garner's fault.
Huh?
I don't know.
It's true, isn't it?
I think supposedly it was Jennifer Garner's fault, where she was like, "You got to stop hanging out with Kevin Smith because he's a loser and he smokes too much weed."
But back to this, Jay and Silent Bob walk off at one point, and like Scott Mosier is there again running the thing with the headset. He pushes them back on stage. That scene ends though, this is when the security guard busts back in. He's like, I'm sorry to interrupt. We have a whatever on the he reads on 1082 on the set or whatever. And Matt Damon's like, Jesus, Ben again. He's like, I know. Joke's on you. I wasn't with a hooker this morning. Good fun jokes from that. And then that's when they're like, there they are. And Jay does the running, but he's like, Ben Affleck, you were the bomb and phantoms, yo. Again, a call back to the very beginning, which is a fun scene as well.
Love that joke.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck, we have the bomb and Phantom.
Affleck, you were the bomb and Phantom. This is where they run and give chase. This might be when they, I think, they cut. This is here. Now we're caught up. This is when, they run through Scream. This is when the killers. It's Shannon Doherty from Mallrats. It's actually Wes Craven, the director of Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street. The killers revealed to be the orangutan Suzanne. Jay and Bob grab Suzanne. They run off with them. The security's giving chase throughout the set. Deleted scene here, another callback to Mallrats. When security starts running away, Diedrich Bader stops and comes back and goes, Brenda? And she yells at him, calls him a dick again. Jay and Silent Bob run outside. They run into the fake wall. They fall down. The wall moves. They run and get a bike. They ride the bike. They're getting chased by the bad guys. They're going. They eventually get launched off something. It's like Amblin Entertainment's ET logo. They crash through a window, and it turns out that they are in the dressing room of Jason Biggs and Dawson.
Fantastic, fucking fantastic.
Great reveal. And they stand up, and they're dressed exactly the same because it turns out that Vanderbeek and the pie fucker are in fact playing Jay and Silent Bob.
One of my favorite parts of this whole movie is the ongoing commentary about how he fucked a pie and it's haunting him. It's like that's all he's like I did this and this and all of we fucking
nice job in Loser.
Which is true, by the way. Like that probably put him on a career path that he didn't necessarily want to be on.
I do like that. I love how all that happens, and then there's that one where they're like, "Get over here, pie fucker." I forgot the exact line, but like the fact that they call him pie fucker really gave me
so messed up.
But that's the thing is you're talking about. Jason Biggs is noticed immediately by Jay as the pie fucker, and he talks about that. Then Vanderbeek pulls his stuff off, and it's like, oh my god, you're the Dawson.
The Dawson, I know.
There's a couple of fun meta references here, right? Of like asking if he ever actually got to third base with Shannon Elizabeth, who of course is Justice in this movie or whatever. Then making fun of Pacey and all this other shit or whatever. Eventually, though, Jay and Bob turn around to figure out the plan to stop them. Vanderbeek and Jason continue to bicker about all sorts of stuff and acting chops and go to hell, Pacey, which is a great, that's a time capsule if you remember the fucking Dawson's Creek, but it doesn't play much now. However, though, eventually Suzanne beats them both up, rendering them unconscious. Jay and Bob are victorious, which is great. But there's a knock at the door where it is, in fact, security again saying, hey, excuse me, Mr. Biggs, Mr. Vanderbeek, we think they've crashed into your room. And Bob's like, to Jay, like, do anything. And Jay's like, yeah, it's us. And yeah, they're here. And can we come in and get them? No, we kicked their asses. We totally kicked. Okay, that's great, sirs. Can we come in and get them? No, we're completely naked, just butt naked. And this is another one where there's a couple times where I think Jay breaks and they leave it in. He's like, all right, well, you guys get a second to get cleaned up, and then we'll come back and do it or whatever. They're like, how the fuck are we going to get out of this one? There are costumes labeled Blunt Man and Chronic on the wall, which they turn and pull. We now go to set where Chris Rock is revealed as Chaka, who will be the director of this motion picture, and just has a rant about how it's like the non-endearing Hooper X of just like this whole like, the power shift of racial politics inside of Hollywood and stuff. But again, it's like, it doesn't work for me because I know Kevin wrote this. So it's like, what is going on? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. But Chris Rock's the black director on this movie. He doesn't care about it. Jamie Kennedy comes with coffee. He's like, are there boogers in it? Is it? No, it's fine. So he drinks it. Just get to taste the booger flavor. But it's all this stuff back and forth. Just again, this weird insert of like, I want a angry black director driving this. Okay, cool. Or directing this. Okay, cool. So we get a whole bunch of this, him yelling. Like I do like the line though of when Jamie Kennedy's like, whatever you want, you're the man. He's like, no, you're the man, and that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah. That goes on for a while, though. I should point out that nobody gives a shit about this flick. It is what they were worried about, right? Chaka doesn't care about it. He has a bunch of white women in his trailer that he wants to fuck, that he's doing the parts for. Jason Biggs doesn't know his character's name or anybody else's names. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and it's just all over the place in this thing. Jay and Silent Bob are then brought to set as Blunt Man and Chronic. Everybody thinks they're the real actors. Chaka comes over to talk to them, and they don't give a shit about him. He's like, he doesn't give a shit about them and the script and everything else. He's like, here's how it works. I'm going to film it. You're going to say it. I'm going to go back to my fucking trailer. Meanwhile, Biggs and Vanderbeek have been arrested as Jay and Silent Bob, at which point Jason Biggs is like, I'm the pie fucker, like trying to claim his credit so he won't get arrested or whatever. they start the recording, and nobody knows what to do. And Jay just goes, "Snoochie Boochies." At which point the wall explodes. Cockknocker comes out, who is in fact Mark Hamill, of course, doing this weird mashup of Luke Skywalker, Joker, prankster, right from Flash and all that shit.
Yeah.
And so they do the applause Mark Hamill thing and totally stop the thing. Then he turns on his dildo, which is a lightsaber. It's actually before then, right? Where he's like, "Why do they call you Cockknocker?"
Well, they're not dildos, are they?
Cockknockers is a dildo, yes.
Oh yeah.
Is
The
it?
vibe.
I thought it was
Cockknockers.
Vibrator.
He punches Jay in the dick. He collapses. At this point, there's a standoff. He turns on his dildo lightsaber and goes boom, comes on out. At which point, then
Jesus Christ, what a fucking sentence and motion you just did.
Yeah, it's how it works, man.
Dildo lightsaber just goes boom.
It has like a wheel to it, you know what I mean? At which point, Bob uses his Jedi mind trick from Mallrats to grab the bong saber off the wall that's experimental. He turns it on. They have a lightsaber duel here. Tim, how's this action work for you?
It works perfectly. This is why I like this movie. It's just like they understand their limitations and they go in on them.
Yeah. So they do a lightsaber battle for a while there. They're having a good time fighting or whatever. Eventually, though, Bob is thrown back on a pedestal. It spins around. What he seems like he's knocked down. Jay comes out with Darth balls and is a double-sided bong lightsaber. Him and Mark Hamill go at it for a while. They're fighting or whatever. At some point, Mark Hamill's like, this wasn't in the script. Chaka, call him off. Yada, yada, yada. Jay stops mid-fight too and smokes out of one side of the bong saber, which I thought was pretty cool. Eventually, he cuts off Mark Hamill's hand, who looks at the camera and just goes, "Not again." And that's a cut. He's out of here. He's not going to be a part of this shit. Yada, yada, yada. At this point, Will and Holly shows up and is like, they're under arrest for doing all this stuff. Then Shannon Elizabeth shows up and she's like, "No, they didn't do anything. We stole these diamonds. It was this thing." At which point the girl gang shows up and they're like, "Fuck you, Justice." It all escalates and culminates out of the blue in this thing. And they're like, "No, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." And I left off the part, by the way, that Banky Edwards is on set in his same outfit again from Chasing Amy. He tried to talk to Chaka. It wasn't happening. Then they also get into a gunfight. Chaka runs away. Blunt Man and Chronic, Jay and Silent Bob get behind their car. Banky Edwards come over, thinking he's about to talk to Dawson and the Pie Fucker. It is not them, of course. It is Jay and Silent Bob. "What the fuck are you doing here?" Multiple planes of actions. A nice moment of meta where Will Ferrell's shooting at the girl gang and is like, "Why are we shooting each other? 2 reasons. We're walking, talking bad girl cliches, and we hate men." That continues on. We cut back to Jay and Silent Bob.
Wait, doesn't it cut back to Will Ferrell and he's like, "I do too," or something?
Yeah, he has a great joke where he's like, she's like, "We're something about only being on the outside." He's like, yeah, and he's like, "I know."
Yeah, he's like, it's something. Yeah, you're right. It's something off that I hate. Something about men like you or whatever. Or he's in. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, we cut back to Jay and Silent Bob, and Banky's like, "I don't give a fuck what you guys want. That's not my problem." And Bob's like, "Oh, I think it is." Cut back to more of the fucking gun battle from 2 feet away where nobody's getting hit. Meanwhile, Elijah Dushku and Shannon Elizabeth are fighting. They have this whole, "I could beat you with this style. I could beat you with this style. I could be bitch, not your man." They fucking just wrestle and cat fight on the ground. Bob lays it all out, explaining likeness rights and how they're owed all this different money because of the way it was sold. Yada yada, blah 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 blah. That happens. And then Shannon Elizabeth beats Eliza Dushku, right, and throws her on top of the other girls who they all three get knocked out because of it. I forget what action leads up to that.
That's why. Nailed it.
This is what happens. And that's a wrap on the big fight scene here. Now we get. I left off the fact that Justice bartered a deal with Will and Holly. Oh yeah, because he got shot in the ass with the dart gun. He thought he was paralyzed. He wasn't. She barters a deal that for a lessened sentence and making sure Jay and Silent Bob don't get anything, she'll turn over the diamonds and flip on everybody, and then he'll get an FBI because of it. Okay, and they're like, "Great, that's how it'll work. That's what we're getting out of it." So we get out of that to it's all on the set. We're still on the set. Shannon Elizabeth kisses Jay. She's put into the cop car. Wait for me, boo boo kitty fuck, all that stuff.
Like she's like, wait for me. He's like, "Here."
Yeah. They're with Suzanne. they drive her away. Banky Edwards and Bob get a scene here. This is the scene too where it's like the set's returning to normal, and we get the guy from Mallrats with that steel beam I was talking about walking by, which I
That's
just
lighting dress. Yeah.
Oh,
Again,
that's funny. I didn't notice that.
literally a movie built for me and everybody who is obsessive about these movies, right? Of just like, you loved all these stupid things you remember us talking about on the DVD. We'll put them in the fucking, or the commentaries. We'll put them in the fucking movie for you. And so, this is then, where Banky's like, cool, what are you gonna do with all your free time now or whatever? And there's still people talking shit about the internet or whatever. And $1 million or whatever they have can buy a lot of plane tickets. And this is the how many people want to kick some ass montage of them flying to different cities and then walking up. Are you Magnolia fan? Did you post on Movie Poops? Yeah.
I like the first three of them are just small kids, and the last one is a priest.
Yeah, and then some dude at his fucking like a desk or whatever, desk job doing that or whatever. So they do all that, and then we jump to I think it's a Jersey theater, I'm not sure. The pan down of it was the premiere of Blunt Man and Chronic, and everybody coming out of it. Is it LA?
It's the El Rey Theater.
El Rey,
which is technically not a movie theater. It's a concert venue. Which they then like inside when we see them all performing the Jungle Love song. Yeah, that's actually in the El Rey.
But everybody starts coming out and talking about the movie, and everybody hates it. Walt Flanagan and Steve Dave come out, and he's like, "You tell him, Steve Dave, stop saying that," because every movie there's a reference to it. Like you said earlier, Trish, the Dish Jones, and Alyssa Jones come out. They're talking about how bad that was, typical male fantasy, yada yada yada. Thank goodness Holden had the good sense to keep his name off it. Why didn't they make his other book, Chasing Amy? That would never work as a movie. I like that reference in terms of navel gazing. Like I didn't like the one. I didn't like when she starts when like at least it was better than Mallrats or whatever. I was like, man, I didn't need that. Hooper X and Brody. No, Hooper and Banky come out, and Banky's like, mystified that they destroyed it. Makes a gay joke against Hooper, but Hooper's like, wait, like they're in a relationship, it turns out. And then finally, Jay and Silent Bob come out. It was Will Ferrell and Justice come out, and they're like, it was fantastic. I love the movie. Wow. He's in an FBI outfit. She's in cuffs, obviously. She wants him to loosen the cuffs. He won't do it. Jay and Silent Bob come out, and they're like, all right, now it's time for the after party featuring the greatest band on it. And they look right at the camera, Morris Day and the Time. And it's a live concert from Morris Day and the Time up there as we pan around the audience and see everybody celebrating and stuff. Again, meant to be the send-off to the View Askew universe. Eventually, Morris invites Jay and Silent Bob up there. They dance. They have a good time up there, and we freeze frame on Jay and Silent Bob. Then the credits roll. As we go through the credits, we get to the end, and then rather than getting Jay and Silent Bob will return in, we get Jay and Silent Bob have left the building, at which point we then get a giant book that is the View Askew book that says The End. God, Alanis Morissette shuts it. It's got the View Askew universe written on it. She picks it up and then she dances off, and that's the end. Or is it?
Or is it, ladies and gentlemen? Andy?
Haiku. 7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. Haiku in review.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny to leave your review in haiku form. Andy, for the last 5 weeks, I always tell you, do Ragu Bagu, and then you start doing haiku and review. So this is the first week I was like, I'm just going to let him do what he wants. And then you didn't do it. You didn't. Let me down, big dog.
We always say it's always been a haiku before Ragu, though. That's what's been throwing me off.
It shouldn't be. If that was the case, because I like to do the reviews before we review. But also, I have no consistency. I'm fucking Tim Gettys. You guys can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny to write your review in haiku form, just like not many of you did. But Daniel Edmonds did. He says, I may have been drunk, but this movie is perfect. Oh, shit, Will Ferrell. And then Bumbleboy Wonder says, waiting since Mallrats. It's all about fan service. Suzanne the Monkey. Sure. There you go. That's it. That's all we got for the reviews. Okay. Let's do Ragu Bagu.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys, the podcast within a podcast where we rank all the villains of the View Askewniverse. I'm one of your hosts, Greg, alongside Andy.
Hey, Greg.
Kevin.
Hey.
Tim.
Birthday
What's
boy.
up?
Nick.
Dude, where's my car? Where's your car, dude?
So first we need to decide who is the villain of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and then rank them. Right now, the current rankings of Volume 9 of Bagu is number 1, the trio from Dogma, number 2, Holden and his male insecurity from Chasing Amy, number 3, Shannon/Michael Rooker from Mallrats, and number 4, Dante, his own worst enemy from Clerks. Nick Scarpino, who is the villain of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
This is a tough one. There's not really one
The
antagonist,
authorities?
but I'll say the girl gang is probably the closest thing because they're the ones kind of putting them in hot water, and then also maybe Miramax for making the movie that's going to ruin their life. I don't know.
Is it not the internet for bullying them?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. That might be.
Will
the
and Holly's
motivation
chasing
for
him. You know what I mean? He's putting the heat
him. Yeah, but
on.
Will and Holly's a sweet man.
He ends up being good.
He's a
man.
sweet man.
I agree.
You can do Will and Holly if you want. Sure.
I say we just put NA and put it at number 5.
That's
like,
fine for
who's
me.
the
Sounds
villain?
good.
It's not
Sounds
really
good.
that. Yeah, this is less about that and more just about like what you guys talked about, which is shenanigans and having fun and having these vignettes of scenes of all the actors that came through. Like one of my favorite things that I don't remember having watched the first time, but when Shannon Elizabeth pops up and scream whatever, she's like, "Really, Wes? This is where we're at, and the fucking monkey's the bad guy." Like, it's
Oh,
good.
Shannon Doherty. Yeah.
Shannon Doherty, excuse me, not Shannon.
You're not even trying anymore. The test audiences show people love monkeys. All right, then Volume 9 is that's a wrap for this episode. Number 5 now is NA, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Cool, great. So love that. Now it's time to rank the cinematic universe. What do we think about this one?
What are the standings right now?
The standings currently are number 1, Dogma, number 2, Chasing Amy, number 3, Clerks, and number 4, Mallrats.
I stand by what I said at the beginning of the show. For me, it's dead last, and I don't mean it as a bad movie or like you know what I mean. Like I think it's an enjoyable, like we're talking about, Dude, Where's My Car and comedy. It's from that era. It's what it's trying to achieve, and it achieves that. But I think when we're ranking the View Askew universe, like I just don't think it holds a candle to anything else it does in terms of touchstone characters I care about, a story that does. I mean, we can't even find the bad guy in this. It's just like a bunch of stuff that happens, and that's why I think it fails, is that it's a bunch of scenes and things that are inserted together to happen that are comical for sure and have funny parts, but I don't think it's anywhere near any
I'd
other
put this
one.
above Mallrats.
Why?
It was still enjoyable to me in some moments. I think overall, like, I don't think I liked the movie. Now that I'm thinking about it more and more, I think it was again sort of that product of its time. I think it's funny in a lot of parts because of the other movies that came before it, but I don't know. Yeah, I just have it. I didn't really like Mallrats at all, and I kind of enjoyed this one a little bit more than that.
I'm kind of with Andy on this. Where Greg, I agree. Like this movie should be kind of dead last, but for whatever reason, I found it way more enjoyable than Mallrats. I think maybe because it's a more contemporary movie. Maybe because I think the Jay and Silent Bob characters are just a lot more likable than Brody and whatever the other character, TS. Granted, none of them have character arcs necessarily, but to Tim's earlier point, that's not really what this movie's about. This movie's about kind of like sheer shenanigans and being more cartoony. And aside from some of the humor for me that didn't hit, there is a lot of humor in this that did hit. Will Ferrell's humor hit for me. Tracy Morgan's cameo is fucking dynamite. Where he's like, I don't know what the fuck you just said, little man, but you move me. Like that shit kills me. And you know, for every joke that I feel like was in poor taste, there was another one right around the corner that I thought was fucking hilarious. But just overall, I was kind of just not as enthralled watching this movie as I was a Clerks or one of his other movies that, you know, had a little bit more to say and a little bit more heart to it. So I'd put it at right above Mallrats.
Okay.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's dead last. But it's just because one of those things, like, I feel like this movie is made for a younger audience that, like, I guess I've aged out of, or, like, I've learned, like, to expect, to want more from my movies, where this is just a bunch of fart jokes and dick jokes. And, you know, it like, I think seeing this movie once every 10 years, it's funny. Because I watched it when Reboot came out. We actually watched it in theaters back to back. And, like, I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it. Rewatching it now, a couple months later, it is one of those things where it's like, all right, I'm focusing real hard on this. And, like, yeah, I do prefer to watch all the other movies more, though.
Yeah, for me, given our list currently, I say this is number 1 just because I think it's way better than Dogma. But I would put personally Chasing Amy above it. But with where we're at with this, I just feel like this movie, like like I said earlier, it just kind of succeeded at what it was trying to do, which is fan service. And I think that getting everyone linked together and having all of the references in this and all of the cameos and celebrating nerddom as a whole, I feel like that was the goal, and they nailed it. And the action scenes made sense, and the jokes made sense, in the world that they built. I don't love the world that they built, but I guess I'm not a Kevin Smith fan. Like, that's kind of what this comes down to. Like, this does feel like the Avengers if I didn't care about Marvel. But
see, but that's what's so weird about it. I think. Well, I guess I can't because Kevin likes it, right? Where did you rank it, Kev? Sorry.
I was saying dead last.
You know, see, that's the thing about it, where I think I totally get what you're saying, Sam, but you're talking about like from a fan, you know, from a fandom point of view, or Avengers, if you didn't like it, Marvel, like Kevin and I love this shit. And I think like it just doesn't work that way for us. Because I think, again, and obviously it's my opinion, and I'm not gonna speak for Kevin, but like, or any other Kevin Smith fan, it's the idea that like, what I love about Kevin Smith is the conversations and the relationships, and have like, I like it when they drone on and have a conversation around a table, not when they're doing this weird dick and fart joke and trying to get in all these cameos and trying to do all this stuff that makes it feel not like a Kevin Smith movie.
yeah, I guess to me, it's more like watching these all back to back, especially for pretty much the first time. Those conversations felt dated, and like, if they were like great, I would love them. But I just feel like contemporary wise, we've seen that done so much better that it's like that stuff just doesn't hold up to me. And watching this, it's like, what I loved, I got more joy from seeing Jason Lee play multiple characters in this movie based on what I just watched the last couple of weeks than seeing those movies themselves. It's like all the bits where it comes together, I'm like, okay, cool. This is what the Askewniverse is like, was leading to. And like, that's just, it sucks because it is coming from a different place. I'm not saying that this is that the fans are going to put it number one. It's just like, as somebody watching them all together that doesn't have a soft spot in my heart for any of them, it's like, at least this one pulled them together.
Oof, I don't know.
Now it's time to vote. Who thinks that it's better than Mallrats? Raise your hand. We have Andy and Nick. So that means...
I thought you liked this movie.
Hold on, I'm confused. Yes, I do. Yeah. So, I always get thrown off with it when I don't have the visual in front of me of having the things that really, for some reason, confusing.
God damn it, Nick, fuck you. I was hoping we were going to slide that by.
Let it go.
Have a vote against himself, and then it would have been where I wanted it.
Who thinks it's better than Clerks? Raise your hand.
Oh, no.
I'm the only one raising hand. Okay, so the rankings so far are number 1, Dogma, number 2, Chasing Amy, number 3, Clerks, number 4, Mallrats, and number 5, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. This Friday, we will start Lord of the Rings in review with the Fellowship of the Ring Extended Edition. That's very exciting stuff. And then next Tuesday, we are following up with Clerks 2.
Tim, you fucked up the order again. You put Jay and Silent Bob last. Which I'm totally for. I'm 100%
rules have
behind that.
been stated on the show. Let it forever be stated in the show.
Thank you.
This is another great victory, just like Batman versus Superman.
There'll never be as victory as sweet as that, except the Snyder Cut. Am I right, Andy?
Fuck you. No, you're not.
Till next week.
Bombs. Nugans.